Hello, friends! Again. I'm now here with the rest of the USS Initiative crew for our finale tonight of Star Trek Adventures. It has been a wild ride, and I think we should go around and say hi to everybody. And let's start with Darby. You couldn't join us last week, but we are, of course, so happy to have you back. How are you doing, friend?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm excited.
Awesome, so am I. I can't wait. Oh, it's going to be good.
They all heard holodeck and were like, what? Speaking of more awesomeness, how are you doing, Aram?
I am doing all right. I'm happy to be here. I'm sad that it's our final game, but I am excited for a good one.
Well, you never know. We could always petition for a sequel.
That's truth.
We also have the wonderful Jordan with us tonight. How are you doing, friend?
I am so good. I am really excited. I'm a little bit sad because finales make me sad. If I cry, I'm not sorry. But yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome. And then we have the wonderful Raven. How are you doing tonight? Finale night tonight?
Hello. I'm doing pretty good. I'm a little half asleep, but I've got plenty of ractigino, as it were. So I will be good. And I am also super excited and also sad because it's the finale. But yeah, you never know. We could be like the real Star Trek and just short series and then a ton of movies afterwards. So never know.
I mean, technically aren't all of our playthroughs like movie length? Yeah.
So there you go.
It works.
No, it's always bittersweet to in the finales, isn't it? And we also have the wonderful Max. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I definitely feeling the bittersweet feelings today, but I'm super excited to get into this and see how this all wraps up. So
awesome. Well, there are a few things I have to say before we get into seeing our crew in their characters. So first things first, don't forget you can interact with the stream. Make sure you're hitting that retweet button because it gives our players boons. It also shakes up the chaos a bit when we hit the 40 retweets. And another boon, I think, when we hit 10 after that. Other way around. 20 retweets is a player boon, 30 retweets, chaos, 40 retweets, another boon. And we've still got that big group boon from last week that hasn't been used yet that we can have pop up tonight. So if you want to help out our wonderful crew out of whatever sticky situation I'm about to put them in, hit that button. You've also got the bits menu beneath the screen here if you want to tip the cast and give them some critical successes or critical fails, banes, boons, twists of fate. It's all there for you to give to them if you would like. Don't forget you can catch up with all of our shows on YouTube, and if you're watching on YouTube, hi, it's really good to have you. Thanks for keeping up with us. We have a bunch of wonderful sponsors here on Encounter Roleplay. Obviously, the Modiphius Entertainment, who are the makers of Star Trek Adventures. We have our wonderful partners, World Anvil, where if you type in, I believe it's World Anvil, into chat, then there is a coupon code for free US shipping and $10 off international shipping. And we also have Wormwood, who have also got a coupon code as well that you can put in for a bit of a discount on their awesome stuff too. But I know that there is somebody who can tell us better about sponsors than even I could, and that is our wonderful Past Charlie, who will tell us now about all the wonderful people that help keep the lights on here at Encounter Roleplay so we can bring you awesome shows. Take it away, Past Charlie.
Before we begin today's show, I would like to take some time to remind you about our sponsors. Fantasy Grounds, our virtual tabletop of choice. All of the beautiful maps and roles you see tonight are done using Fantasy Grounds, which you can try for free at fantasygrounds.com. You can also get all of your miniatures from Wayland Games. Go to waylandgames.co.uk and get yourself a huge range of D&D, Warhammer and 40k minis for up to 20% off regular retail price. And Tabletop Loot, who sell incredible dice. Go and check them out at tabletoploot.com.
Thank you, Past Charlie, for telling us about all of our fantastic sponsors over here. And now, to get in to the finale of Star Trek Adventures. So, your last mission was, by all accounts, a huge success. You managed to get to the bottom of what was causing some of the unrest on the planet Ashgrave. It turned out to be the planet itself. Sentient, confused about the expectations that the people there had placed on it, you managed to convince it that it didn't have to be a god, or any particular god. It just had to provide the joy that it was so naturally good at providing. It's been a few weeks since that mission. You've done a few other minor things here and there, supply drops, the usual visit to a colony site to check over the health and well-being of the colonists there. Some minor diplomatic missions, mostly bringing important Starfleet personnel to one embassy or another. But nothing quite so full on like you experienced. There was somebody, however, who was a little bit late in joining you back after that mission. You were situated around the planet Ashgrave for the next few days while diplomatic talks continued and the situation was kind of dealt with on a more diplomatic level than perhaps the problem-solving level that all of you had dealt with. And it was maybe the day after this that Tristan was picked up with a transporter signal, having been missing through most of the storm and the events after it. Tristan, it's been a couple of weeks since you were located again by the crew, since the incident at Ashgrave, where you were filled in on everything that had happened, what they had uncovered. But why don't you tell us kind of, how does Tristan feel about all of those events now, and where was he during that storm?
So Tristan, with his half Betazoid heritage, has need of some treatment aboard the ship for certain things, and without it, his empath abilities can get a bit intense. Given what was happening on the planet and the state of some of the people there, he felt needed by a lot of people in order to keep them calm as best as he could. So that's what he did. While the others were problem solving, he was attempting to bring calm to the individuals struggling in whatever way he could. And I think he's back on the ship and is getting his treatment again. His empath levels are leveling out a little bit, and he's sort of taking stock of everything, and just looking forward to chilling a little bit maybe after all that.
I can imagine so, but yeah, so luckily Tristan was fine. He was beamed back aboard the day after, having lost a communicator in the chaos of that storm, but was responsible for keeping a lot of people in the building that he'd helped them shelter in safe and calm. But I want to know how the rest of you feel after those events, as a few weeks have passed and you have been told that shore leave is being declared. The ship will all staff on a skeleton crew, while a handful go back home for the short week or so of rest. You are being given proper shore leave for this. All of you on the ship, however, have been asked to stay on as part of that skeleton crew. You are still on shore leave, but you are asked to stay with the ship, along with a handful of other individuals, to keep things like the engineering department going, to oversee any repairs. But you do at least have a few days within that week where you are not required to see to any of those duties. Tell me, Siltek, how do you feel about the events that happened, and what are your kind of thoughts about finally getting some longer term shore leave, more than the day or two that you may have had between trips recently?
It's a lot. It's a lot. We've been down to 2 planets, and boy, have both of them been a lot. So I think that, combined with the fact that he just saw an instructor of his that he had a lot of respect for and had to struggle with some of these ideas of religion that he's never been able to place down because his mother was so adamantly atheist. I think that he just needs time to reflect and needs time to kind of be alone, and he would seek out something familiar. So he's actually kind of relieved that he's got to still be on the ship, as opposed to going down on shore leave and dealing with that. He's just got like, if you saw him in the hallway right now, he's got on spurs and boots, big old hat, he's got chaps on, and this gigantic leather saddle. He knows that the holodeck can make one, but he refuses to use it because it's just not the same feel as a real saddle. And he's walking straight towards the holodeck right now, intent on getting in some riding on the fields of Montana.
As Picard would say, true riders always have their own saddle.
Yes, that's exactly it. Yes.
In which case, then, if that's what Siltek's getting up to, what is Ro getting up to in this time off? You're back aboard the ship, back aboard with your crew. You've had no major incidents in the last few weeks, but obviously the few weeks before that were filled with some very difficult missions.
Yeah, I have a feeling that after so much time on the ground, Ro probably took out a shuttle for a joyride for a little while, and then since she's stuck on the ship and can't go to the real Ryza, probably in the holodeck with a Ryza program, just chilling, drinking tropical drinks, and doing very little.
And I imagine it is a wonderful sight as well. The holodecks are very powerful, and it is tropical drink after tropical drink, sunshine, all of the wonderful paradise that is Ryza. Speaking of people that love to be... Oh, go on, Ro.
Also, there's a specific order that she's not to be disturbed by crewman Callahan.
Who fawned over you a little bit when you were back. He's very relieved to see you, but otherwise has done exactly as he has been told now that he is aware there is a shit list. And in fact, occasionally you hear some of the ensigns, some of the lower ranked crewmen, occasionally whispering about who else might be on the shit list. You know, somebody does something wrong under your command, and it becomes a kind of running joke amongst the crew. Callahan swears he didn't tell anybody, but whether you believe him or not is up to you.
Ro's just secretly pleased that people fear her.
But speaking of people that love to be back on their ship, Illyria, the last 2 weeks, it's been minor checkup missions. You've only had to go down to the ground to check over equipment on some colony planets, to occasionally aid in picking up materials, but otherwise, you've been back on your ship with your engineering crew. You haven't had to be planet-side for anything you didn't want to be there for.
Oh, thank God. Illyria is probably, she has spent as much time as possible with the ship itself. So where everything comes together to create the power that is the ship, she has found herself a cubbyhole. However, all of these adventures have sparked almost like curiosity. Like, you know how you get really passionate about fairy tales? For her, living on a planet is a fairy tale. Never gonna happen. Not really a thing. But she did make friends with a horse. And so now she's almost curious. So I think truthfully, like if she interacts with someone, it's probably Malco to ask a really weird question about biology, and then like she asks it and then leaves. Like no more, no less. But she's very content to be back where she belongs, and is more calm and confident than you've seen her in a while.
It is good to hear, and I like to imagine that perhaps Siltec has taken you riding in the holodeck somewhere with horses.
Absolutely.
Yes.
This is what I imagine.
Yep.
Or that maybe
I've
you have your own.
recreated the horse perfectly. What was the horse's name? The horse had a name,
I
right?
don't remember. It was like it started with an E, right? Maybe.
Right. It was like Elena. It was like some like very normal name we gave the horse.
Yeah,
I
it was
think.
great.
Yeah.
I have to look it up.
Yeah, I spent like 3 hours sitting down with Tristan, like, trying to get all the mechanics of this horse right so it was exactly proper. We had to keep doing the code over and over again. We had to write a few lines of new code just to get it right. So it's just your horse.
Somebody in chat is saying
Yeah.
Arabelle, which sounds about right.
That does sound about right. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. That's a good horse
there-
name.
Yeah, but you recreate that horse. Somebody else that also had the pleasure of riding the horses back down on the planet Ashgrave was Malco. What has the Doctor been doing since, coming back from those missions? Now that things have slowed down, you've done a lot of the kind of going down to colony planets, assessing the health of colonists and other crews and stuff like that. What else have you been spending your time with? Where have your thoughts been?
So initially it would have been the immediate help and recovery of Siltec's hand after he stabbed it himself, and then tending to Tristan when he came back, and then just kind of general assessment of everyone on the ship, and then I think maybe a lot of re-upping his knowledge on certain medical procedures. On top of whenever he had downtime, he would probably go into the holodeck and set up a movie theater and try and have like movie nights for people on the ship as much as possible, along with answering Illyria's questions about horses whenever she came running up, and just giving the quick it'd probably be this, and then watching her just run away, just a little bit confused, but I would assume after a while getting used to it of just, okay, she's probably got another question. Okay, here's the answer. Okay, bye.
I like the sound of that. So, a few weeks have passed from those events, and you are now within that week of the shore leave. Almost all of the crew of the USS Initiative. It's not a big ship. It's a by comparison, it's a little dinky Nova class comparison to some of the much larger class starships that some of you may have served on. Some of you may have seen when you've been docked in various places. But most of the crew has left for shore leave to one place or another for this kind of week long. You are part of the skeleton crew that's been asked to kind of minorly oversee things that are happening aboard the ship, repairs and such, as you are in space dock. But to stay aboard, so there's somebody here. There's a handful of people from operations, engineering, but most of the command officers have left on shore leave. You're docked on a small outpost that's just got some minor repair crews, that kind of thing. You're not in any kind of busy space dock as such in a nice central planet. You're a little bit out of the way, but it's peace and quiet. Nobody really bothers you. You have all today spent some time on the holodeck. You have been inside Siltec's Montana program, which Tristan helped design. Beautiful stretching fields, horses galore, much to Illyria's delight. All of the comforts that you would expect. Sweet tea, I'm going to assume they have that in Montana.
Sure.
Home cooked food. A little bit of earth. Perhaps a little bit of home for some people. You have been called because somebody needs some authorization for something going on with the repairs, something to do with engineering, venting something from a reactor to replace something. Illyria probably understands what this means. The rest of you perhaps not. But you get that call come through as you're in the holodeck, standing in this beautiful horse kind of ranch building, nice wooden fences, exactly the kind of thing that you'd see in old Earth movies. And Illyria, that's when you get the message that somebody needs your authorization for something. You're pretty sure this isn't an engineering officer that's calling you because they sound very confused. But you're told that they need your authorization.
So, pause. Is this someone that so I don't get a sense of confidence from this individual?
You're pretty sure they're not one of your engineering crew. They sound like they're
Oh,
crewmen
okay.
from another department on the ship that seems to apparently have just been there when somebody showed up or has taken the call and is basically trying to relay to you that there's somebody here, they need to vent something from... He tries to pronounce the name of a reactor part, doesn't get it right. Clearly doesn't know his
Illyria,
engineering.
as this person is incorrectly saying things, she is correctly saying things back over them. Like, if they start to say something wrong, she's going to be, you mean this?
Yeah, and every
Okay.
time you feel like, yes, that thing, and then they go on to explain some more. But it sounds like you're needed on the engineering deck. But you're currently stood in this beautiful hollow deck with horses, sunshine.
Dang it.
What do you do? What do you do when you get this call?
Well, Illyria, it's a very rare moment that I am comfortable in a place that does not look like my little hidey hole. But Illyria will, after the little conversation, kind of nod and like huff a little bit and be like, all right, I gotta go down and give authorization. Does anybody want to come?
Reluctantly. Like, I'll take Annabelle's reins like she's real, right? You know, to help her get down off the horse, and Siltech will get down too, holding both reins, and we'll reluctantly come with her. Yeah.
I will pet Annabelle.
You pat
She'll
Annabelle.
always be here.
The horse feels like a horse under the tips of your fingers. She brays at you and kicks her head towards your hand, kind of scuffs her hooves against the floor as she's led back to the paddock. And is everyone else, Trishan, Malco, Ro, what are you doing in this moment as you're enjoying this holodeck program that Siltech and Trishan have kind of built together?
I think.
I'll
Oh, go ahead.
No, you carry.
I think Ro probably has had the holodeck create some sort of, I don't know, a hover motorcycle type vehicle, something that's like a mechanical equivalent to a horse, and is riding that around.
Okay, that's what Ro is doing. How about Malco? What's Malco up to?
I think he would have been a little bit curious about what's going on with this call. He would have gone to give any sort of support, I guess.
Okay, so you're also leaving with Illyria and Siltech and Trishan. What are you up to?
Tristan has been really enjoying the whole horse ranch thing, but he's also sort of stood there like with his roller skates sort of hanging around his neck in like his roller disco garb. Like he's enjoying it, he's having a good time, but he's also kind of itching to like get to the roller disco a little bit. So he's like, okay, no, that's fine, we can go sort that out, and then roller disco later, you know, to wind down for the evening. So he'll probably head out as well to see what's up.
Okay. All of you call out the familiar phrase to end the program, waiting for the doors to appear as the room shuts down, and you find yourself in an impossibly small room from the place that you just came from. And you say the words, and you listen as there's a vroom, as the program shuts down, the holodeck stops projecting. You walk towards the doors, and they don't open.
So we're like in a closet attached to like the holodeck door opened. We stepped into like a small room, and then there's another door in front of us, or
No, the holodeck projection is shut off, and you're just kind of
Got you.
left
Okay,
in
we're just in
that
that room.
empty room. And as
Gotcha,
you walk
gotcha.
towards the doors, they don't open like they should.
try it again.
Bro's gonna. Sorry, go ahead.
That was all I had. He still takes just
Oh.
hitting the button over and over. That's all he's doing.
try-
Bro's gonna walk over
Try
to
the door
the.
button. Go ahead.
Rose is gonna go over to the panel that they show in every Star Trek episode when there's something wrong with the ship and the panel's not working. So they pull this little side part off where the wiring is, and it's basically just another handle that they pull down.
Right.
That's what Rose is gonna do. It's like the manual override switch.
You pull they're called hand actuators. You remove the panel, pull the hand actuator. The doors don't open. In fact, as you pull the actuator, there's no tension on it at all. You expect to feel that almost mechanical or gas-like tension as something would normally put pressure on the doors to then force them open. And that doesn't happen either. You're all stood in this room. You can see the faint lines the holodeck uses to project an image properly within the space. But it's
Can the
dark.
holodeck give us a thing without like can I just go be like holodeck crowbar and it give me a crowbar? Will that work?
I'm not entirely sure that's how they work, because the crowbar the crowbar would only affect the hologram or your cells rather than
Okay, it wouldn't actually
door,
affect
because-
the wall. I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
Probably
so-
a
'cause once
safety
the
thing, I'd imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say,
All right.
going back to all my Star Trek episodes watched, I think you'd have to deactivate the safeties on the holodeck before it would actually interact
All
with other things.
Can I get my fingers in the crack of the door and try and pull it open?
If you wish.
I might as well.
You're gonna be making me it's probably gonna be daring plus security.
Daring
It's gonna
plus
be
I can't use fitness.
you can use fitness.
That'd be great. Thank you. So
It's gonna be
fitness plus
difficulty
security.
3.
Difficulty 3. Okay. Do I have any?
these-
I might as well spend something then. Do we have anything? We got a pool going or something?
You don't have any momentum at the moment, and I'm currently
Right.
sitting on 2, 4, 6, 10 threats. You can give me some threats.
I
if you'd
will not
like.
do that then. I will just try normally to try and open the door. No
Okay,
sense
go
in this
ahead.
getting that dangerous.
Make that roll for me.
I got a 2 and I got a 12, and my security is 4, so that is 3 successes.
Do you have any focuses that apply?
Oh no, I don't.
So-
No, you're right. I'm sorry. So it's only 2.
Only-
Yeah, you're right.
It's only 2. You get your fingers in the door and you try to wedge it open. And Tristan, you would know from watching Siltek's unsuccessful attempts. Holodeck doors and holodecks themselves have got very good security systems and safety protocols, so that people can't just wander in and not realize where they are. People can't just wander out. And you've heard about accidents that have happened when safety and security protocols have broken down on holodecks, and this is one of them. But the doors do not open. You probably could have guessed yourself that they wouldn't if something hasn't triggered the holodeck to shut off properly. But Siltek, you tried to pull the doors and there's no give. They are firmly locked.
I think
Very
we're stuck.
quickly, I do want to shout out, we did hit the first player boon of the retweet goal, and my little message here says player boon of the captain's choice. I think I'm going to give this one to Tristan, since you are the kind of main builder of this holodeck program. And I think that's quite
all
a
your
feat,
fault.
creating the relaxing world for everyone over the last week.
Given that, is there a way that I can check to see if the program has actually terminated properly?
You can if you go over to the control panel.
Yeah, I will do that.
Go ahead, make me a reason and engineering test. Difficulty 2.
Okay. Ooh, nope, that's only 1. Only one.
It's only
Oh
one.
wait, no, wait, no. Yeah, just one.
Okay. You go over to the same panel that Ro is at, and you start. There's another one next to it, and it's like if anyone's seen the TNG episode where they have holodeck stuff, it's weird, like things that you pull out and plug back in. It's kind of bright orange plexiglass, almost like material, and you look through. The program doesn't appear to still be running. Like the program itself, you can't visually see it, but something in the holodeck didn't switch off. It's still acting as if a program is running without one running at all. But what that means you can't really figure out. As far as you can tell, there is no program running, but it hasn't dropped the safety procedures that it would normally do. That's all you can really gather on a failed roll.
Okay. I'll let the others know.
Siltech to the bridge. Siltech to the bridge. Anything?
Nothing. It's possible
Think
that
we're
there's
on our
nobody
own.
currently on the bridge because
That's
there
true.
is only
We
a
are kind of the
skeleton crew.
Oh wait, that's right. Everyone's here.
Can Illyria contact the person that she was just contacting about the authorization?
Sure, what do you try and contact them with? What are you saying to them?
Hey, this is Illyria. We're having issues with the holodeck. Can you send maybe not yourself, but someone with experience up here on the other side of the door? Okay, thanks.
There's a crackle over your communicator before you hear. Of course, Commander. One of the engineering crew?
Yep, sounds good. She hangs up.
I like the idea that you do just hang up. You just don't, if he calls again, you just don't answer.
Anxiety.
You sit around in this room for maybe a good, what you can imagine is about half an hour, if anyone is particularly good at keeping track of time, before you start to hear banging on the door outside. Loud bangs.
Just like being trapped in an elevator. It's the same thing. Just a big elevator.
Yeah.
When
Um,
Illyria hears the big bangs, she's gonna start yelling, "Don't break the ship!"
You don't really hear, you hear like a muffled response, but it's hard to tell what that voice is through the thickness of the metal. And eventually you start to see flickering in this kind of strange walls of the holodeck. There's flickers of light. Trishan, there are suddenly flashes of what look like holo programs beginning to start. There's a flash of the ranch. There's suddenly a flash across the floor that lights up like a roller derby disco. Few other pieces. You see the flash of Reza. You see other programs, some of the training programs here that just kind of flash, almost like you're watching an old Earth film camera, you know, the ones with the slides where they just kind of pop up really quickly. And then suddenly you hear more scraping from the doors before there's a release of pressure. And the doors open and light from the main corridor floods in. Standing in front of you is a young gentleman who appears to be Truman Callahan. It's very odd. His hair is kind of unkempt. He's clearly been sweating in his uniform, and he's got this toolbox open with tools spread across the floor. You can see that he's got some kind of bar in his hand that he's been using to leverage the doors. The hand actuator on the other side, the assembly has been pulled out and opened up. But he stands there kind of like bends over, hands on his thighs. He's like, well, got the door open.
Thank
He
you.
kind of looks at you,
Well
Ro,
done.
in a tense moment. Should I
Ro
go?
just looks at him and like what she says sounds harsh, but like you can tell in her face, like she's literally just messing with him, and her tone is very jovial. She just says, "It took you long enough."
He looks at you for a second, not really, when someone's not sure how to take something that's been said, he realizes you're joking, kind of steps backwards and like slumps down against the wall opposite the door, drops the tool. Well, I don't know what happened with the door, but it was stuck. Did you know that before you went in?
Illyria walks over. She wants to see the damage done to the ship.
The hand actuator assembly system has been not just pulled, which clearly didn't work, because it didn't work from your side, but has also been taken apart. There are cables and wires and gaskets like hanging out of this wall outlet. Nothing that for you is too difficult to fix or for one of your crew. You can see that the actual frame of the door itself is dented in a few places where it looks like he tried to leverage the doors, and the door seam. There are massive dents in where he's got this tool that's not too dissimilar from a crowbar, but it's designed to get in between doors in safety situations and act as leverage to pull them open. It kind of fits in, and it's almost like if you've ever seen like firemen with their airbags that they use to raise things, it's kind of like that, but heavily pressurized, which is kind of what's got the door open as he's wedged it between, activated it. But it has left scuffs and dents all along the door edge.
He's also drawn on it with a Sharpie, painted some things,
Here's the problem. Like, Illyria appreciates the effort, but she would have stayed in there forever if it meant the ship didn't get damaged in the process. Like, she's got time. Like, so Callahan may not be on Rose's bad list, but now he's on Illyria's.
Passing him along.
Good
hustle.
You just see her turn around to face Callahan, and you can tell, like, this is a very intense emotion that she's never really had in front of y'all before. It's like severe irritation, but trying to be calm, but also anxious about saying anything. And she just looks at Callahan and goes, "So you're gonna fix this, right?"
Well, I thought I'd get one of the proper engine. I'm just a technician.
Yeah, I can tell.
You know that everyone is trained. Everyone is trained to use tools like this for emergency situations, and he's just like, he's holding this thing, and he's like, "What? I will get somebody to fix this." Yeah,
Siltic is punching whatever code he's got to lock this down. Like whatever security code I need to make sure that no one can get in here until that security hold is lifted, he's going to lock that in right now.
I hate to tell you this,
but
the panel isn't actually working because he's taken it all apart.
All right.
So you've just got the doors that are partially wedged open.
Illyria will try to help fix that because that hurts.
But you see,
Callahan, child.
kind of, he looks over at you, Ro, in like between you and Illyria, realizing that he's got off one shit list straight onto another, and kind of Illyria hands you the tool, and is like, I will go and get somebody. That's what I'll do.
Rose
and he's kind of like,
clap him on the back and be like, "Well, you're off one list."
Bro, as you go to clap him on the back and you're off one list, as he goes to walk off, will you expect to feel a solid human body? Your hand goes straight through as the pixels around it almost kind of fizzle in that kind of, as if they've been disturbed. Like if you put your hand through any other normal like display hologram, and you watch as from the point of your hand, Crewman Callahan dissolves into pixels that disappear into nothing.
Well, plus side, the ship's not actually broken, Commander.
Oh, thank God!
At least not in the way it seemed.
No, it's broke a whole different way.
Yes.
It's broke on the inside.
Is there a way to find out? Yeah, I'm just going to ask the computer what program is currently running?
No programs are currently running.
See, but the computer might be a computer inside the computer, so you
Yes.
can't trust that. Guys, what if we're not real? Are you real? And I'd like to just start poking at what else to make sure they're real. Slap
You
at
just
everyone.
get a very serious, about to explode look from Illyria, and
Look,
she
look, I'm
just
sorry.
turns around and sits down. Like she just walks away and sits down and just stares at you.
Look, I'm so sorry. I just had to make sure you were real, because what if you weren't real, and what if there was another Illyria and we didn't know, and we have to trust you because you know about this? All very confusing.
She just
So
takes
I'll-
a deep breath.
After giving each other bruises from the "Are you real?" poking, all of you are real. You are all solid substance. Nobody dissolves and disappears.
Hey, listen, I'm not real, and then all my poking's not real. Siltex is like in a corner having a crisis.
Okay. Illyria, to add to the confusion, the communicator goes off. Commander, we're still waiting for you to come down for authorization.
Okay. And she kind of takes a pause and looks at can everybody else hear what that, or is that just to me? Sorry.
How do they work? Do they announce it in air, or do you only hear it in your own
Yeah.
ears?
I would assume that since this is a direct call to Illyria, only Illyria can hear it. It's not like a comms-wide thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so Illyria is gonna look at my fellow crew and or my, and say, they're still calling me down for authorization.
If they're real.
Is that like, she looks at Tristan, is that hollow or is that not?
Honestly, no idea.
Okay.
This is the problem with holodeck programs, is that they can make things as pretty much as real as anything else. So your guess is as good as mine.
Can you tell though? Can you tell if it's a real person over the communication? Do you get any feeling from them?
If it's over a communicator, they'd be too far away for me to pick up any kind of
Right.
empathic signal.
Commander Illyria, we really need your sign-off down here in engineering. I've got these guys are waiting in the engine room to start.
Before I can do anything, I need you to come up to the holodeck, please.
Okay. I'm on my way, Commander. And the communicator goes out. What is everyone doing right now?
Just poking walls. Just trying to figure out what's real. Just walking along, poke.
How far do you walk to test this? Because obviously you poke the walls inside the holodeck. They're still dark.
Yeah, I'm not leaving their sight. They will not leave my line of sight, because the second that happens, a wall's going to pop up or some other bullshit, and I will lose them. So I am keeping them in sight.
So you check the immediate walls in the corridor within the site. They appear solid. You place your hands on them. Nothing happens. The doors to the other holodecks open as they would.
So we're in the hallway outside the holodeck, right?
Mhm.
As far as our perception is concerned.
In theory. Add in theory to everything. Make sure we know.
Okay, and the computer has said there's no program running.
Yeah.
Rose going to test something. She's just going to tell everybody, all right, if nothing's running, then if I call for the arch, in theory, nothing should show up. So she's going to go computer, arch, calling for the control panel that usually shows up in a holodeck program when you say arch. Does anything show up?
No arch available. Programs are not running.
Commander Farron, can you have them cut all power to the holodeck?
You got it. And Alira will contact whoever she needs to contact to do that. Can I do it from the inside?
That's a good question.
You can try if you like. You have
I
access
will-
to the control panel in there.
I would like to do. I want to wait until. So I called that individual up to see if they are hollow or not. Is it possible for me to wait a little bit before I do any of that? Like just like
Yeah.
maybe 10 minutes, like however long I think it should take them to get to us. I'd like to wait that period of time because I feel like I'm going to have to handle it differently if it is all hollow
Yeah.
versus if it is not.
That'll give me enough time to poke all the walls. So we should be good.
So you wait that good 10 minutes, and a crewman who looks as you would expect any crewman on the ship to look while it's on shore leave. He is not in like straight up uniform. He's wearing something a little bit more casual as he comes up. Commander, you wanted to see me. The crew down in engineering really want to get started with he's looking that thing where he's like, I
Mhm.
don't know what the name of this procedure is called. He's looking at you, expecting you to like finish the sentence for him.
Alira will finish the sentence almost before they have the chance to even start saying the wrong thing.
I will give you a point of momentum if you can techno babble the name of the procedure.
I cannot. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Listen, Alira knows all the things. Jordan doesn't.
I
You can
stride
make it
right
up.
past. Siltec strides right past her and just shoves the engineer right in the chest to see if they're real. Let's just get down to brass tacks. Boom, just shoves them.
Make me a
Oh,
fitness. Daring plus fitness.
daring plus fitness. Okay, all right. So wait, daring plus fitness. So aren't those two in the same category? I'm sorry. Am I not sure
sorry.
this is working?
Fitness plus security.
I got a roll right. How about that? All right. That's gonna be a 4 and a 2. So I got 2 successes.
Okay, so it's difficulty 0. You get 2 points of momentum. You full force shove him in the chest. That's what you were
Yeah.
going for, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You walk up to him as he's talking to Illyria, and she's repeating back to him. Again, he's trying to explain what's going on. Apparently, there's someone down in engineering. There's a small crew there. They're part of the off-ship repair crew that have come on. They need to vent something from the warp engine, replace some bits. And in the middle of him talking, you come up and you full force palm him in the chest, sending this poor ensign crashing to the floor. Like
Oh, hell.
straight on his butt, onto his back, whacks his head, kind of
Oh, Winston.
clutches
Winston,
at
I'm
his
so
chest.
sorry. I didn't think you were real. Hang on, come here.
You see Illyria go,
Trying to pick himself
fascinating.
up.
I'm so sorry. Winston, I'm so sorry. We didn't think you were real. Come on, get up. You're trapped in here with us now, but we thought you weren't real.
He's just looking at you with wide eyes, like he's got no idea what just happened.
So listen, we think we're trapped inside the holodeck because we couldn't get out of the holodeck and like nothing's real and like someone was up here before and we touched them and they turned to pixels. So I just assumed you weren't real. You understand, right? Tap, tap, tap.
You can tell anyone else, apart from maybe Siltec, can tell this poor ensign is not listening to a word. He's like clutching at his chest. Like you can see he's got another hand, like as he kind of rubs a hip that he landed on.
Yeah. Oh, I'm getting written up. I'm definitely getting written up.
I was gonna say, Ro would probably look at Siltec and be like, "Well, on the plus side, it wasn't a higher ranking officer than you, Lieutenant."
That's fair. That's fair. Still, I apologize. That was not called for. It's very confusing right now.
Illyria wants to walk over and get down. I know that we can't breathe and we've hurt ourselves. I have other priorities. I need to get down eye to eye, and I'm going to ask, when you walked into this room, was the door open or was the door closed?
I'm very confused, Commander. What room. We're in the corridor. And he kind of looks around, like he's still clutching at his chest, but he looks around as if to illustrate his point, because you are still stood in that corridor. I came up here from engineering. I walked down the... I'm not sure I understand what's going on.
Alira ignores the exclamations. I would like to go see if I can find the power and cut the power.
Okay, so...
Because I know I'm in the holodeck.
Yep.
Okay.
While she's doing that, Ensign, why don't you walk me down this path you just took? Let's backtrack a bit and let's see where you came from.
I mean, you're not going to hit me again, are you?
I'm not going to hit you, Ensign. You want to take a shot back? That's fair. Fair is fair. I apologize. Get you a drink after this. How about that?
He looks around at the other, especially the other officers in the room. Is this a test?
If it is, it's testing all of us.
We're having a really weird day so far.
Yeah.
Just breathe normally. You're fine. It's okay. I'm gonna and take up that drink offer from him, please.
Okay.
I'm still not convinced you're real.
I'm not just fully convinced either, but if he is, I don't want to be mean.
Do you say this to him, Tristan?
Yeah.
He just looks at you and is like, Commander, he doesn't know what to make of it. He just turns to you, Seltak. He's like,
right?
I can show you which route I took.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. It's super confusing, right? Because if you weren't real, how would you know you weren't real? I've been going over this for 20 minutes. Come on, let's walk.
I think there was a class on this at the academy. It's like he walks you back down the corridor that he came from. But Illyria, you're going for the power.
Yeah. And I guess it's kind of weird because holodeck, if I'm trying to get to the power on the holodeck, but the room is not the holodeck because the holodeck's projecting, would I know where to look for it?
Well, you know where the power in the holodeck is, because there's nothing that the holodeck is, as far as you can tell, off. So you know where the power control is there. You also know where there are power conduits in the corridor here as well. So it's up to you which of those you want to try.
I'd offer to take one or the other.
Yeah,
I'll try them
whichever
both.
one Tristan feels more comfortable with, Alira will let Tristan take over. I feel like Alira feels like Tristan knows more about Holo than Alira does, because Alira is more mechanically inclined. So if you want to take the lead on this, Alira will follow. If not, she'll do her best.
No, I'll check the one in the deck itself if you want to check the corridor.
Perfect. And Alira will head over to the corridor, or where it is in the corridor.
So Tristan, you're closer to the one in the holodeck. So if you want to go ahead and make me, this is going to be reason plus engineering to try and kind of look at the power and figure out how to shut it off. Are you looking to shut it off to this holodeck, all of the holodecks, the corridor? What are you trying to?
All of the holodecks.
All of the holodecks. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, make that roll for me. Illyria, can you make the same roll? It's going to be difficulty 1 for both of you. Reason and engineering is you try to locate that power source and how to cut it off.
If I can use my holotechnology focus, which I assume I can, then I've got 2 successes.
2 successes. Okay.
I got 2 successes.
2 successes. Okay, so that's another 2 points of momentum. So you got 4 points of momentum in the bank there, friends. You both locate the power for the holodeck. Tristan, yours is for this holodeck and the one that it shares the bordering wall with, as the power routes the same way. Illyria, there are a couple of holodecks on this ship. You managed to find the main power connector through which all of the others receive their power, and you both shut them off. All of you hear the familiar kind of powering down sound that you get whenever you cut off main power through systems like this. You can see that the lights in the holodeck that are just there so that when you step in, you're not in like a dark room. If your program hasn't started, all fade to black. The lights in the corridor flicker. Siltek, you notice this as you're walking down the corridor with this ensign. And for a moment, like any other power shutoff, the lights along this corridor go dark.
Does
Just for a moment
the
before
ensign
they
flicker in any way when the power goes down? Does anything change with him?
Not that you can tell, but when the power
Right.
comes up, he's gone.
Whatever Cardassian is for the F word. And then I turn around and I go sprinting back. Like, he's not real. He's not real. None of this is real. Running back towards everyone. And then like, oh no, because I lost track of them. It's like, okay, that make sure you're all real again, and pokes everyone else again just to make sure.
You would
And then
poke everyone else, except for the fact that I'm going to spend some more threat.
Oh no.
As you go running
Oh,
back the other
no.
way, you see the open holodeck doors, the dents and the scratch marks in them, the opened up panels, the tools on the floor. But Siltek, you do not see the rest of your crew.
Dang.
All of you, as the lights flicker, they shut off, they come on again. It appears to be normal. There is no further power into the holodeck.
Shouldn't let him out of my sight. Shouldn't let him out of my sight. All right. I'll just start yelling. Just, Commander! Commander Odie! Commander Sosin! Commander You're just like just shouting, banging on walls and shouting.
You bang on walls, you shout, you don't get an answer.
Damn it. Siltek to engineering. Siltek to infirmary. Siltek to the bridge. Well,
Nothing.
shoot. Siltek just sits down, crosses his arms, and patiently waits for a couple minutes until he has an idea, because he's out of them right now.
You sit down amongst the littering of tools that the perhaps holographic Commander Callahan had left. As
So I'm still in full
Put your
cowboy
hand
outfit,
down.
right? Like I'm just
You're
like
still
I don't
in
have my
full cowboy
phaser
outfit.
or my tricorder or anything. I'm not even in uniform. I wouldn't even have a badge now that I think about it. I'm just slapping like the sheriff star on my chest that I think is a communicator badge. No wonder it's not working.
As you put your hands down and kind of move the tools out the way so you can sink to the floor, you go to move what looks like some kind of wrench that might have been used to undo the actuator assembly. And your hand goes right through it.
Man.
Not that
this
the
is so
wrench
confusing.
suddenly dissipates to make place for your hand. The wrench is solid. Your hand is not.
I'm not real. Oh, damn. All right. So he just kind of pulls in his hand and he keeps like, can I touch my own hand?
You can touch your own hands.
Okay. All right. All right. He kind of pulls like real close, like, sits down with his knees up against his chest, right? And just pulls everything super close in and just tries to calm himself because now he's actually freaking out. Now it's like full. He used to have panic attacks when he was younger. His mom put him through a lot, right? And she'd purposely bring him to these stress points to see how he reacted. So he's like in one of these stress points now because she would play these exact kind of mind games on him. Like, are you real? Are you not? Is everything you know real? Am I real? And so he's almost losing it right now.
Everybody else, you don't know where this ensign and Siltek have gone, but they haven't come back yet. The power seems to be off. Strangely enough, does Siltek wear anything on his hands? Rings, jewelry, bracelets, watch, anything like that?
Yeah, you know what? He's got, there's an old bracelet back from his, he knew his grandfather briefly. Like he has little flashes of memory, right? And his grandfather was always so kind and so generous, even though his grandfather had spent most of his life in these Cardassian camps because he was outspoken and thoughtful, right? And so he had this bracelet that he was given as a marker for being in these camps that he had to wear every single day. And his grandfather passed that on to him. So he keeps it close. Like if that's not real, then his life would fall apart.
That is real. It is still there. And when you place your hand down, it, along with your hand, sinks through this tool. Everybody else, as you're stood in the corridor in that brief few moments of silence while you're waiting to see if anything else happens, you hear a clink. Just from beside you, Illyria. When you look down, you don't see anything. It's just the tools on the floor.
Wow. Oh, okay. Jordan's mind's blown. Illyria probably won't think anything of it. Like, clinks and clanks and things just kind of happening with mechanical things. That's not abnormal. I mean, gravity, you're in space. We're not in space right now, but I'm just in that place. So all the tools are hollow for me, though, right? Like, I can't pick them up and clean them.
You can pick them up.
Can I clean them?
Can you clean
I
them?
can?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to kind of take the tools. Well, I'm going to take the tools and kind of pile them against the wall so they're out of the way. Because when I hear the clink, I'm like, oh, somebody's probably actually going to trip on these since somebody made a mess. And so she'll do that.
Siltek, you watch as one by one, in strange, almost glitchy movements. They're not fluid, but they're not so broken that it looks like things are disappearing and reappearing, as these tools get moved around the floor with no seeming force acting upon them, as they all get piled up slowly against the wall that you're sitting beside. Some of them are even poking through the side of your leg as you've got them pulled to your chest.
Right.
As it looks like they're stacked. These weird, glitchy movements.
So he's watching them kind of get moved one by one, and he waits. And like when the last one is ready to be picked up, he tries to, the second it starts to move, he grabs for it, like assuming there might be a hand or an arm there, and tries to grab who's ever picking it up.
As you stretch out and try to grab, you don't feel anything to grab, and your hand just goes straight through the tool. But Illyria, as you pick up the last tool that's here, slightly bigger, heavier, what looks to be some kind of clamp that might be used to wedge in a gap between a door to keep it open if it was having trouble, like keeping a door open while you worked on it. You feel it's almost like something brushed over you. Like the feeling of like wind when somebody moves a hand too close to your arm, or the feeling that you get if somebody just very lightly brushes your hand as they reach for something that you've also gone to reach for.
Or, like when a terrified Cardassian's losing his shit, like that.
I think that she kind of freezes and takes a pause and is very confused. She almost like reaches out in the direction that she feels like it came from, just to kind of like make sure that there's not like a bug or like that's abnormal. That doesn't. There's no wind in a ship. Like that's weird.
Nothing. You check. You try to see if there's maybe a bug. Maybe there was something attached to the tool, but nothing.
She'll just kind of shrug it off and like finish moving the tool.
The tool continues to move, Siltek, as you sit here.
Would Tristan have seen this from Illyria?
Yeah, you can spot Illyria having this moment of like stopping and examining her hand and her arm and the tool before placing it down.
Everything okay?
Yeah, I just thought that I thought that I felt something, but I don't think it's anything.
Okay. Can I empath sense to see if there's anyone nearby?
Yeah. You pick up Illyria's feelings which I imagine are a little bit like confusion at what's just happened. Probably still a slight deep-rooted anger at the fact that the ship's doors are dented, maybe. What do we pick up from Malco and Ro? What are you both doing in this moment as Tristan kind of takes that minute to focus in on how people are feeling?
So, I had a question. Do we have our real phasers and or tricorders with us?
Not on your person, but if you wish to go and get them, you may attempt to.
No, because not knowing what's holographic and what's not, it wouldn't really, I wouldn't be able to really trust it.
Unless for some reason you have decided to, don't forget you all have a collective party boon. So if you want to use that to somehow access some equipment that you know is reliable, if you feel like that is a good use of kind of that bigger boon, I'm happy for you to do that. But otherwise, at the minute, you don't have anything on you.
Okay. It's up to everybody. I know Ro, for being in Montana, Ro's probably just in her uniform, but I don't know that she would have, obviously doesn't have it on her, but I could potentially see her having a phaser on her if we want to use it for that. Or maybe Malco might have their tricorder with them.
If this ship is anything like any other ship, there's going to be a panel along the wall somewhere that's normally kind of hidden. You can bang and it'll pop right open and there'll be phasers there.
If anything, I would say that Malco is probably the most likely to have a tricorder because he's been answering all these questions for Illyria about horses. So whether or not he'd have one on him because they're at the horse ranch and he's looking into it more for her, I don't know.
Just clearing
Yeah.
horse programs out of it, trying to get to the place where he can scan.
But like I said, you have got a whole party boon that you can all collectively use for something, and obviously Tristan, you have a boon. I can't remember who else has any left over from previous weeks, but I'm also happy for you to use that to aid other people if you wish.
Okay.
Gotcha. So here's my thinking. If we have a tricorder or a phaser that we know we had on our persons before we did anything hologram related, the tricorder could potentially read like photonic energy, so it could tell us where the real barriers of the holodeck are, or a phaser could be used to blow out emitters to show us where reality is. Is kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
willing to have the tricorder if that's what we want to do in order to be able to answer these horse-related questions. As kind of it's been going on for a few days at this point. I should have this on me so I can immediately pull up information and answer her question.
If you want to use the party boon, I'll let you have a tricorder that Malco has had on him, and I'll say that Ro has their phaser.
Okay.
And has had.
I'm good with that.
In that case, I mean, Tristan's like in full roller disco gear. He hasn't got a phaser. He hasn't got anything like. He wouldn't have had anything like that on him anyway. But would I be able to use my boon to say that I had my experimental device with me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So is that what you want to use those boons for, friends?
I think so.
Okay.
I
So-
support
yeah.
this.
I imagine then that perhaps Ro and Malco, at some point in the hologram, you had set these objects down in this kind of ranch, because you've got like, I imagine there's a little house that everyone kind of hangs out in, has drinks in before you go out horse riding. And it only occurs to you at this moment that when the hologram ended, those things would have dropped to the floor. Somewhere in towards the back in the inky darkness of the holodeck, and you can go and retrieve them. But Tristan, I imagine then what you're getting from Ro and Malco is a sense of pragmatism. The feeling of having to figure this out. You did pick up something else though. First you think it's Illyria, but then your instincts push past where she's standing. By that pile of tools, you can't help but detect panic. really faintly. It's almost not there at all. It makes you feel
Very
like it could be the
handsome
other
panic.
side of the wall. But there's panic. But it's not quite there. It's just on the edge of your psyche that you can feel it. And it comes and goes. You notice it and then it's gone, and then it's back, and then it's gone. But it's just at the edge there.
Definitely something here. Maybe, I don't know. This is really weird.
Siltek, for a moment, and Tristan, as you kind of look over in that direction, as you look up, the panic rising, you blink for a second, and you swear you see the faint image, almost translucent, of Tristan standing, staring right at you. And then you
All
blink
right,
and it's
he can-
gone.
All right, he can see him. Okay, so focus. I'm gonna use my regimented mind, and I am gonna focus, push down all my fear, push down all my worry, and I'm gonna do nothing but form an image of Commander Odie in my mind, and I'm gonna try and speak to that image in my mind, just saying, "I am here. I am right in front of you," over and over.
And that is what you sit there and do. Tristan, you feel that panic dissipate. It's gone. It was there just for a brief second, but not anymore. What are Malco and Ro doing in this moment? While Illyria and Tristan are kind of looking over the power, Tristan kind of distracted by this other emotion that he could sense.
Ro's definitely looking for the phaser.
But I imagine both of you can scramble around in the back of the holodeck somewhere. The lights are completely out in here now, so it's almost pitch black. But you do eventually find both of these. They're a little bit dented from where they've kind of dropped, but they're intact. They appear to be working. They appear to be the same objects that you had on you when you entered the holodeck. They don't appear to be holographic. They're solid. You can pick them up.
Okay. Commander Sozin, since you've got a working tricorder, what if we scan for photonic energy? We can find out where the real walls are, since we seem to be in a holodeck program.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's going to quickly look for either Lyria or Tristan, maybe Tristan, considering he knows holodeck technology better than Malco would. And he's going to go up to him and say, "I think this works. Can you scan this room and just make sure that we know where everything real might be?" And a quick question: if I would imagine, or at least hope, that I would have at least maybe one other person to help within the medical section of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And if so, then he's going to try and contact them.
Okay.
And
who is this person?
I think it was, Connor was their name. I think we had talked to them briefly before. So Connor, it's Malco. Can come in?
Yes, Commander?
Can you make your way just towards the holodeck, but don't come in. Stay there. Just stay by the door.
Okay. Give me a moment. I'll be there in a moment. And he
don't-
cuts off.
Okay.
I mean, you can still contact him.
Yeah.
he
I was
can't-
gonna say, stay there. Keep an eye out for anyone. Don't leave that spot once you get there. And that's
outside the doors to the holodeck.
correct.
Yes, Commander. And 10-15 minutes later, this crewman appears, Connor, and he makes his way to the holodeck doors, the ones that you're outside of, and just greets you. Commander. Commander, he nods at you, Illyria, and at you, Tristan. Chief Petty Officer. He gives you a nod as well, Ro, in
Do
acknowledgement.
I see Connor?
No.
Okay. All right. Damn.
Do I sense
So-
anything from Connor?
Confusion.
Oh, but I do sense something.
Yeah.
Okay.
He just kind of seems confused. Problem with the holodeck, commanders?
Several.
Well, it's a good
A
job we're
couple.
we're on shore leave then, isn't it?
Hmm.
Maybe not so much. What did you need me? I'm not much of an engineer, I'm afraid.
Just I'm going to need you to trust me on this, and I'm going to go up and just kind of awkwardly put my hands on his shoulders and just check if he's real.
He's real.
At least, okay. Then I'm going to kind of reach up on his neck to see if I can feel a pulse.
He kind of like he gives you a very odd look, but he lets you. There's a heartbeat. You hold it
Shit.
there for a minute.
Okay.
85 over 60, average heartbeat, 85 beats a minute.
Okay. Stay there. I'm going to need you to be lookout for me and for the rest of us, please. And if you see anything, shout it out.
Right here or at the end of the hollow deck corridor?
Right here.
Okay. Is there something I should know about? Commander?
I will explain when this is done.
Okay. Okay. I will stand here then.
I have a question.
Mhm.
It pertains to timing. So when Siltech figured out that the person glitched, you said that you yelled that they glitched and they're not real. Did we hear that or not?
That would have been after the lights came back up,
Yeah.
Yes.
and you would not have heard that.
Okay. Never mind. Thank you.
But Connor, he stands there. He's a bit confused, and he kind of takes a casual bit of a lean, knowing that he is on shore leave. He's not technically at work. Kind of leans against the wall, but he still keeps kind of like good posture. He's still very clearly paying attention.
Illyria turns to Tristan and goes, so are we assuming that we're still in the holodeck? Or are we assuming that the holodeck is now altering outside of the holodeck?
Both, or neither, or well, if the person who broke us free wasn't real, then how did we get out?
Illyria
good
just
question.
puts her hands on her head.
But of course, if the safety protocols have failed, then even a hologram could potentially break us out. Wait, hold on.
But, I mean,
Can I go to the other holodeck room, the one where the doors aren't busted?
One of the working holodecks, as it were.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. There is no power
Uh,
to it.
Okay, but
She
does it?
turned that off.
Yes.
Oh, don't
Does it
inception
open?
this. Don't do a holodeck inside a holodeck. We're never going to get out.
I kind of want to turn the power on and load up a
No.
program.
You can turn the power onto that one holodeck if you wish.
Yeah.
Okay, I won't make you roll to do that because you've already rolled to turn it off, so you can easily redirect it.
Okay.
Which program would you like to run, Commander Tristan Odie?
Roller Disco
the
Revision
right
4.
amount of creepy in the computer voice to make it sound calming, but just a little scary. You've got that nailed, man.
I will
That's
say,
true.
Siltech, You see from where you're sitting, there's the noise. Power starting up again as one of the panels for the next holodeck, like the next hollow room, lights up.
Oh, maybe
While
it'll
the
make me
rest are
real.
out.
So I'll go run into that room when that's powering up.
Trishan, what program do you run?
The roller disco.
Running roller disco. Welcome, Commander Odie. And the doors open, you step in, and as you step in, it takes a second, but the holodeck loads up. And Illyria, Malco, Ro, and obviously Connor can see this as Tristan makes his way into another holodeck. It loads up. Describe to me this roller disco program.
Oh, it's kind of like a really kind of dodgy 80s cheap roller disco venue. Like the floor's all a bit sticky and a bit gross, and like the lighting isn't great, but the music's really good, and there's just like a handful of people doing circuits, and they're amazing dancers, but everything else is like a bit dodgy. Everyone's got like headbands and sweatbands and leg warmers, and like everyone's just having a great time. It's very 80s.
Okay, and that's what you walk into exactly as you would program it. Siltek, you make your way into this holodeck. It's dark.
Oh, I don't get the light show? Okay, never mind.
There's nothing here, but there's music.
All right.
Faintly, as if it's echoing somewhere at the back of this empty room, which can't be possible.
Right.
80s Earth music.
You know, I'm a fan of that. Yeah, I could see that. I was fascinated by that,
But
so I'm like deep
it's
into
just-
it. Yeah.
It's just almost just out of reach. It
Okay.
doesn't sound quite right. Have you ever, like in an audio software, run two exactly the same tracks over each other and you get that
Totally.
weird slight oscillation in it?
Yeah.
That weird phasing? It's almost like
Right.
that.
So I'm just hearing like flock of seagulls, kind of like off on either side of me right now, right?
Yeah,
Trying
it
to
just
figure
it
it out.
sounds off, like it's not in this room,
Right.
but it must be because this is where you're hearing it.
Oh man. Okay. I stand in the middle of the room and I'm just like, I'm here. I'm right here. Just like shouting as loud as he can.
Occasionally you see the flash of a deep purple light or a bright pink flash. Sound of something hitting a wooden floor, but none of it's coherent, none of it's here. It's like you're listening to it from a far distance. Trisha, what
But
are you doing
does-
now? You're
Sorry.
also go on, Siltek.
Does it feel like the disco have I seen Tristan's disco? Would I know what this was?
Trishan, has Siltek been to the roller disco with you?
Yes, but probably a slightly different version. There's
Sure.
there's different revisions of the roller disco program. He's probably
I
been
might
to
not
the
recognize
nicer
all
one.
those nuances.
Yeah.
Roller disco is going to be a
Yeah.
roller disco to Siltek. Right.
It's very true.
Right.
I imagine
If
the
I
music
recognize
is...
the program, I would summon it too. I'd be like, computer, start roller disco 1 or whatever, you know?
So I imagine that you recognize the music, not necessarily
Yeah.
the program, but the music
Gotcha.
definitely makes you think of Tristan.
Okay.
Like you've heard him listen to this kind of music before. It's never
Okay.
sounded quite so phasey and oscillaty though.
Computer, is a program running in this holodeck right now?
No programs are currently running. Program
Computer?
is currently running. No programs
Computer,
are
play that
currently
program.
running.
Computer, play the last program Commander Odie activated.
That program is already running. No program is
Duplicate.
currently running. That
Duplicate.
program is currently running, and that just repeats.
Fuck! just shouts, throws his saddle down he's been carrying around for the past 2 hours, and just stomps around in his boots all pissed off.
Illyria, Malco, Ro, what are you doing as you see Tristan enter this holodeck and start up his roller disco program?
The very first thing Ro does is look around and go, "This is what you do for fun?"
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, no judgments. They're just okay. And she's just looking around, kind of waiting to see what we figure out with the tricorder and running this different program on a different deck. Holding
Okay.
action, I guess, if you could put it that way.
And what is it that you're trying to do with the tricorder? Malco, you're the one that had it. What was it that you wanted Tristan to try and look for?
I'd imagine to first try and see what the boundaries of the actual holodeck were, and then at least that. And there was something else, but it has fallen out of my head. So at least that.
Okay. Tristan, go ahead and roll me. This is going to be reason and con. And Malco, I'd like you to assist with same. Difficulty 1.
Okay. Oop.
That is no successes on my part, unfortunately.
Okay.
Can I use a momentum to roll an extra?
Yeah, go on then. Normally
Right.
you have to declare
Yeah.
that
Oh,
before you roll,
sorry.
but I'll
Sorry,
let it go. It's all good.
I forget things.
It's okay, it's okay. So you've got 3 points of momentum in the pool.
That's one success.
1 success. Okay. You scan the walls and you're looking for the true walls of the holodeck. So while this roller disco looks expansive, probably larger than a roller disco hall would be, the walls are very apparent when you scan. The dimensions of the true holodeck, the holodeck that you now can't see as this projection is playing and this program is running, those dimensions are correct within this room.
Seems fine. Everything's as it should be.
So, according to the tricorder, we're not in a holodeck inside of a holodeck.
Nope.
Rose going to turn to Commander Farron. Go. Could this be some weird warp bubble phasing type deal? I think I heard something about something like that happening on the Enterprise with a warp experiment or something like that.
Maybe. Alera is really just at a loss for what exactly is going on. She's gonna... Okay. She has a really weird thing. So... Is there somebody who she knows is not on the ship that one of my friends don't know isn't on the ship?
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to ask Siltech to call someone that I know is not on the ship, but that Siltech does not know is not on the ship.
Okay.
And ask them to come to the holodeck.
You make a
Oh,
call
no,
to
I'm not,
Siltech.
because Siltech is in a different
Yeah, you can't
dimension.
see me.
I'm going to ask
Although that
Tristan.
might make you think that OG Siltech's not here for
Thing
the first
is
time in an
that
hour.
Nobody
Your
has
best friend
noticed that
Siltech who
Siltech
gave
is
you a horse. Oh, he's
missing.
not here.
As far as you know, he went with that ensign to retrace this ensign's steps. And he hasn't returned.
Here's the problem, though. Illyria knows that Siltech sometimes makes rash decisions, like cutting Siltech's own hand with her knife. So she's not... She feels like this might be
You
normal.
wouldn't be worried. Right. Siltech's probably outside the ship in a spacesuit right now doing some dumb bullshit. That would not be surprising at all.
She's also very preoccupied with what's going on mechanically. But Illyria will ask Tristan to page one of the engineering people
Okay.
that Tristan doesn't know isn't here.
I imagine that you would have to go through the computer to do this. I don't know how comm badges work exactly and how you specify who's who, because people just seem to like tap them and it happens. So I imagine that's kind of like a thing between some of the upper officers or selective crews. And since you don't know this officer, you can do it through the computer if you wish.
Yeah.
What's the name of this engineering officer that you're contacting?
Jeremiah.
Okay. Tristan, you asked the computer for Jeremiah. Jeremiah is not currently aboard the ship.
Apparently, Jeremiah isn't here. Are they supposed to be?
No, I had a thought, but no. We would know safety protocols on how to, like, if the safety protocols for the holodeck stop working, would we have a list of protocols to go by in that instance?
You probably would, yeah.
I would like to start doing them.
Okay. I don't know what they are officially, but I imagine the first thing would be to ensure that, like, obviously your crew is safe. That obviously the holodeck is made safe if possible, and those kind of steps. I imagine similar steps that you would make if, you know, there was any kind of emergency with a power system or a computer system on board.
Yeah, she'll go ahead. At this point, she's gonna say, "Where's Siltech?"
That's a good question. Can I ask the computer if it can locate Siltech?
You can. You ask the computer. Siltech Null is currently aboard. Is currently not aboard. Is currently aboard. Siltech Null is aboard. Location unknown.
That's never good.
I think our computer's drunk.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know how the computer gets drunk, but I think it's drunk.
Can I go up to the computer and ask the computer if it knows how many life forms are currently on the ship?
There are currently 43 life forms aboard the ship.
Would I be able
44
to...
life forms
41.
aboard the ship.
40.
43 life forms aboard the ship. It just fluctuates between those two numbers.
Yeah.
Would I be able to cross-reference? Would I have some sort of like list of, on like a medical file of how many people to maybe keep track of, so I can cross-reference that to see if I know how many people are on the ship or are supposed to be on the ship?
I mean, you can get that information from the computer. You would have it down in your office.
Man, we rely on
Okay.
this computer for a lot.
I'm going to then look at Connor and go, Connor, I need you to do this as quickly as possible for me, please. Run to the medical bay. I need you to get me an exact count of how many people are on this ship.
Of course, Commander. Okay. And he heads off towards medical bay.
And and I'm gonna look at the rest of the group. What, Alira? Why is the computer counting people wrong?
I don't know. I can't tell if the ship is panicking or if the holodeck is panicking. But I can't tell if I'm in a holodeck.
I've got an
42
idea.
life forms aboard the ship. 44 life forms aboard the ship. 41 life forms aboard the ship. 44 life forms aboard the ship.
All right, I've got an idea. Ro's gonna access the computer and tell the computer to apply a phase discriminator to internal sensors and start scanning at like small increments. Basically, each time it scans, if it doesn't find anybody, go down to the next increment and so forth until it finds somebody, and then report location.
41 crew aboard the ship. Scanning. And the scan continues. It'll take a while. You're doing a ship-wide scan with a bunch of extra process added to it.
Yeah.
Siltech.
Yeah, I got an idea. It's a crazy idea, but he's
You're
gonna play in
standing.
this world. So he
Okay.
he contains himself, calms himself, stops yelling, stops shouting, stops pretending, and just says, "Computer, who is the preeminent authority on holodeck technology?"
Commander Tristan Odie.
All right. Commander, Computer, I'd like you to take all files on Commander Odie that are available. I'd like you to recreate his office and recreate him in this room, please.
Authorization code needed.
Do I have one?
You're not an officer.
Does all
that's a
all public
brilliant idea,
files?
though.
Take all public files on Commander Odie and use that to create roughly like as close as you can get. Computer, I need anything.
The computer takes a moment, and in the holodeck that you're in, there is a flicker as a generic Starfleet Starship office flickers too, before the computer says, "I'm going to spend some more threat."
Oh shit.
Program currently running. Please exit the previous program before reinstating another. And then,
Arch.
in that moment, as you call for Arch, your communicator goes off. Hello? Is there anybody here?
Yes,
Commander,
this is
any crew responding?
Ensign Null. This is Ensign Null.
Ensign Null. This is Ensign Connor.
Ensign
From
Connor, where
medical.
are you?
Well, I was in the medical bay. I went down to get a list for Commander Sozin.
Did you come into contact with the holodeck or the floor around the holodeck?
Yes, I was asked to go up and keep watch for a bit before being asked for a list of all the personnel still on the ship.
Yep,
I
you're trapped
tried
in
to
here
go
with
back
us
up-
now. You're not in a place where you think is real. You need to come right back to the holodeck right now. And you need to tell anyone out there that I am trapped here as well. I am standing in holodeck 3, flat in the middle of it, recreating Commander Odie's office. Do it now, please.
Commander, I can't get hold of anybody else.
Go
I can't
there
find anybody
in
else on the
person,
ship.
Ensign. Because they
I'm
ain't, because
standing
you
at
ain't
the
in
end
the
of the
ship.
corridor, Ensign.
Ensign, you gotta listen to me. If you want to live, you need to get to the holodeck physically right now and tell them what I have told you.
The Arch appears in the holodeck, and stepping through the doors is Ensign Connor.
Okay. And again, like, there's no way this one's real because I just talked to him in medical, so I just shove Ensign Connor as hard as I
No,
can.
he said that he was in medical. He got asked
Oh,
to go
gotcha.
down there, but he's come back up since.
Okay, that I don't
He
hit
can't
him.
find anybody.
All right.
I can't find
Ensign?
anybody else. I don't
listen,
know
hang
where
on.
the commander's gone. What is happening?
Is he real? I'm poking him.
He is real. He is
Okay,
very
listen.
panicked too.
Listen, I need you to calm yourself. Something has gone wrong with the holodeck or the ship or reality. All these things could be true, but for right now, what we need to do is get this under control. So, what do you know about holodecks?
I'm training as a doctor.
I know.
Ensign
I know.
Null.
It's just one of those things. It's like electricity. How does it work? Who the hell knows? It just does. You turn on a light switch and it comes on. That's how I feel right now. It's so confusing. We got to get out of
think
here.
that's
Do you have a
electrons.
tricorder? Okay, fine. Listen, do you have a tricorder or a way to detect other real people?
No, there's some in medical.
You'll never get back there. We're not in medical. Listen, you gotta focus. We are in the holodeck. We are trapped in the holodeck. All this is fake. All of it.
But I left the holodeck and went to medical, and everything was
And
there.
could you do that inside the holodeck?
I mean, you can do anything inside a holodeck.
Correct. Let's go find the others. Do not let me out of your sight, and I will physically grab his arm and walk out into the hallway.
Okay. You march out into the hallway. Ro, as you're watching the computer. Phase shift.
Yes.
44 life forms detected.
Okay. So, is it saying it's detected 44 life forms out of phase?
It's counting upwards to the life forms it detects as it goes through. So it's shifted through several of these increments that you've set. And it's maybe the 10th or 11th one where it notes that it is detecting more life forms. It started on what you would assume is a neutral level. And as it's
Okay.
worked through, it's now picked up the other few people that it seemed to have dropped off. It was jumping between kind of 41 and 44.
Okay,
And now
so
it's complete.
essentially confirming that there are people out of phase on the ship?
Potentially.
Is that what it's doing? Okay.
Assuming that this is the
Um,
computer, and depending on which train of
yeah.
logic you're following.
Exactly. Assuming the computer's working the way it's supposed to work, and everything isn't a holodeck. Yeah, so I'm assuming everybody else hears that, so Rose just kind of, makes the motion of like, okay, sounds like something's out of phase. Smart people, what does that mean?
Would you like to spend some momentum?
She's
to
looking
ask some
at Commander
questions?
Farron.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have the tricorder?
I probably would have handed it back to Sozin after I'd done my thing.
Okay. Illyria is not going to answer Rose's question because she doesn't know the answer to it. She's going to acknowledge it, and you're going to see her brain start turning. But she is going to ask for the tricorder. And in the middle of the corridor, not the holodeck, she wants to set the tricorder to filter out like all of the holographic stuff. So like if we're
Okay.
in the actual corridor, everything will be the same, but if we're in the holodeck, it should dissipate.
So you make that scan. Go ahead and make me a. What will this be? Reason plus. I'm going to call this con because you're manipulating a piece of equipment here. So. Control plus con. Difficulty 2. Would you like to buy any extra dice? You've got 3 momentum sitting in your momentum pool.
Yeah, that'd be great.
How many extra dice would you like?
Can I just have one, please?
Go ahead. So you're rolling 3d20 there.
Well, I got 1 success and 120, so...
Okay. Would you like to succeed at cost?
Would I like to succeed at cost? I don't...
So you
Is it worth
succeed,
it?
But the complication gets a little bit worse.
I don't know. Illyria wants to figure out if we're in the holodeck or not. But I'm gonna say no. 'Cause
Okay.
I think I
well,
can figure out a different way to do it.
that is a failure, but there is a complication. As you are trying to determine this, you are picking up holographic signatures that suggest that there is holographic elements being transmitted into the corridor at least. You can't tell, there's no specific point of emission, but you can pick up, Tristan, if you're watching this, you can probably see as well, you can pick up the signature of holographic emission. Where it's coming from isn't directly clear. It just appears to be present as like a background, almost a background signature. So Illyria, it's kind of hard to determine if that's spillover from something in the holodeck, if that means that the corridor is the holodeck or not. It's not a good enough indication. However, Illyria, as you are holding on to the tricorder, you suddenly feel it slip from between your fingers. And it crashes to the floor. It's not broken,
Okay.
but you can't pick it up.
Like, I reach for it and it just
Your hand
doesn't
goes...
move?
It goes through your hand.
Do I
Tristan.
know anything about this? Like, am I just like, aha, I know what's wrong? Or am I like, what the heck? Knowledge-wise.
What are your focuses?
Oh my goodness, let me see. My
While you're
focuses
looking
are...
that up- Oh, sorry, very quickly. Tristan, Malco, and Ro, you all see Illyria drop the tricorder. And there's something off about how she looks as she stoops down to pick it up. It's like watching somebody glitch. She's still there, but the movement's not fluid. It doesn't seem normal. And you watch as the tricorder goes through her hand as she attempts to pick it up. Illyria, sorry, what were your focuses?
Starship construction, warp core technology, mechanical engineering, constellations, lip reading, sign language, and disguise.
You have an idea of what this is. Either you're a hologram, or the tricorder's a hologram, or something is wrong with your phase. You know that warp technology can occasionally, if not maintained, or through horrible accidents, circumstances, or damage, can cause phase bubbles, where things don't quite line up properly and it puts people out of sync. That could just be out of sync with a movement or a time, but it can also be out of sync with the environment as well. So you can exist in a place but be just off enough that it's difficult to interact with other things around you that aren't in the same sync with you. It can be fixed, but it's difficult. You are obviously not too far out of phase because you can still see your fellow crew. You can still see Malco, Ro, and Tristan, but you're out of phase enough that you can't pick up that tricorder. You can almost sense its casing as you put your hand in it and it goes through the hand, but it's not solid enough. Like, it's just within your reach, but you can't quite grab it.
Okay. Illyria is going to turn to Ro because now she thinks she understands the question. Can I, like, talk still to them?
You can try.
Okay. I am going to start talking and I am going to say, Ro, I think I know what's wrong.
Ro, Illyria turns to you, and she doesn't seem all quite there. Her mouth opens. Her lips begin to move. Malco, Tristan, you can see this too. But the sound that comes out is completely illegible. It's
Okay.
like the speech just isn't right. There are words, but you don't know what any of them are. Illyria, you
Okay.
watch as their faces get more and more confused as you talk.
Okay. Ha 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 ha. Can I use my focus in sign language?
You can. Does anyone here have sign language? Anyone else here have sign language as a focus?
No.
Okay.
This does make
Mal-
Ro want to try something though to confirm a theory.
Okay.
If she
Malco,
can.
I think you are going to be the only person that can probably reasonably attempt to understand this. You've got stuff in like xenobiology, you've treated a lot of alien species, so I imagine that at some point you may have had to learn some form of sign language, or at least the art of understanding how to talk using gestures for some of these particular races and cultures. So, Illyria, I would like you to make me a... Oh, this is difficult. Have you got a suggestion for what you would like the test to be? Because it's just a test to kind of communicate whatever idea it is you're trying to get across. And depending on how well you do, that's going to set the difficulty that's going to determine Malco's difficulty to understand you.
Okay, so tell me if this is off. Probably insight, because I'm going to use sign language, but I know I have to make it legible to someone who maybe doesn't quite understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a good reason for that?
Insight will go.
And then
I feel like command is probably going to be this one, because command is about having that kind of ability to communicate with people and stuff. So go ahead, roll me insight command. I'm making this difficulty 0. Okay. I just want to see how well you do, and I'm going to start the difficulty for Malco at 5. However many successes you get, I'm going to knock that off of the difficulty. So would you like to buy any dice? You've got 2 momentum in the pool. Every success is a point of momentum that you gain back, and every success is a difficulty lower for Malco.
Okay, so I'm not going to buy any dice, but does it count as 2 successes since it's implementing a focus if I roll under? Okay, so I rolled a 6 and a 15, and a 6 is under, and it's a part of my focus. So 2 successes.
Okay. 2 successes, yeah. So that is, you've got 4 points of momentum in the bank. So Malco, your difficulty is 3, as Illyria seems to watch you all, stops talking, and begins moving her hands. And it's a bit difficult because her image is almost glitchy and shifty. But go ahead, make that test for me. This is going to be insight, because you don't have a background in sign language specifically. Insight and command. Okay. You have got 4 points of momentum, so the difficulty is 3. You can buy some extra dice if you like.
I'm going to buy 1.
Just 1? You can buy up to 3. So you could buy 2 extra dice right now with your momentum. Okay. You could buy 3 by spending all your momentum and giving me 2 points of threat.
I'm going to get the 2 extra dice. I'm just going to spend the momentum.
2 extra dice. Okay.
Did you say this was a command check as well?
Yes.
Okay. Can I use my advisor talent?
Yes.
Which, if someone's making a command discipline roll, they get to re-roll one of their d20s.
Sure. Okay, so you're now rolling 4 d20s, and you get to re-roll one of them.
Okay,
so
cool.
Go ahead, make that test. You're looking for difficulty 3.
And that is insight and command.
Insight and command.
Okay. Wow, that rolled a lot. That is... Oh, I gotta roll one more dice. So that's 2 successes so far. No complications yet. I'm gonna re-roll this one more dice. That is a 1. So that's 4 total successes.
4 total successes. So you get a point of momentum back. You got 2 in the pool. And Illyria, you can effectively communicate whatever it is that you wish to Malco. But very quickly before we do that, Ro, you said you wanted to try something. So what is it that you wanted to try while this exchange was happening?
Yeah, so Rose got an idea of how she can confirm if we are actually on a holodeck program or actually out of phase. So doing a little bit of side seat writing here for Ro, but I'm wanting to assume that she's been to Ryza perhaps at the same time a certain Commander Riker was, and that they had played Tonga or something like that, and maybe he owes her a certain number of strips of latinum. So she wants to send a priority subspace message to the Enterprise, specifically for Commander Riker, asking what the number of strips of latinum it was that he owed her at that game. Something that the ship's computer would not know.
Okay, I like it.
Let's hear your best Riker.
Go ahead and look. This chair back's a little bit too high for me to do the whole chair sitting thing. Okay, okay. Do you know? Go ahead. Make me a presence and contest as you tell the computer to do this. You instruct it to do this, and you do all of the necessary things. To all of the fail safes to make sure that this gets sent, that it doesn't not get sent because it's detecting issues with the ship, etc., etc.
Okay. So that's going to be 15 for the target, and then I do have a focus in persuasion. Would that help at all, or is this strictly for the tech
I'm going to
side
say
of
yes
this?
because you're talking to Commander Riker, and I think it'll be fun.
Okay. All right. So that is going to be 1 success, with one of them being a 1, or I guess the only success being a 1 plus the focus.
So 1 is already 2 successes anyway.
Okay.
So you instruct the computer to do this, and it takes a moment, and it says, priority message sent to Commander William Riker, USS Enterprise. It starts listing off like the starship number and everything. You know it'll take a bit for it to come back, if it comes back at all, depending on where you're sending that subspace message. Thank God this is not the original Enterprise, because that would have taken 8 weeks, depending on where they were. Subspace travels a lot. Subspace messages travel a lot faster now. I want to jump back very quickly then. Illyria, what are you trying to communicate to Malco as you begin this sign language? What is it you're trying to tell everybody?
Okay, so she's definitely gonna try to lower the understanding level to where it's pretty basic, where she can say several words and it get kind of the point across. She's not a hologram. Unacceptable. And she doesn't believe the tricorder was a hologram. So she is going to use sign language to, 1, direct Malco to feed all of this information to Tristan, because Tristan will know. And 2, she's going to say that she thinks the phase is off. And then she's going to mention that might be where Siltech is. Because if I'm not here, but I'm here, and Siltech magically disappeared, she knows that Siltech does go do crazy things, but Siltech always comes back. And we're always in the middle of the crazy things, and the crazy things have not come back with Siltech, therefore Siltech is somewhere where we cannot find Siltech.
Yep, I should have been back with a horse or some other utter bullshit by this point long ago.
Okay, Malco, Tristan, and Ro. Malco, this information is relayed to you. It takes a little bit, there's some back and forth, but you kind of get it. I imagine you have to ask Illyria to repeat some bits or change the sign language she's using, but the point gets across. Illyria, as you finish this with your final mention that if something bad hadn't happened to Siltech, he'd be back with some bullshit by now, you hear something, footsteps down a corridor, and you turn to look, and you can see very faintly, it reminds you of old, Terran ghost movies where like back in like the 60s where ghosts were just, let's turn the opacity down on this person. It kind of looks like that. But it's Siltek and somebody else. It's the medical officer that Commander Sozin sent off earlier. They're walking down the corridor. Siltek's got him by the arm, walking directly towards you. Siltek,
So,
you
like,
can't
we're
see
here, but
Illyria.
we're not here, and I don't know. Like, I haven't been able to figure it out. That's all she's hearing in the background.
Can I?
You can just hear
them.
this. You can hear a strange kind of garbled talk that doesn't sound quite right. Like the words are there, but none of it is legible. But they're walking directly towards you.
I'm gonna take a moment to look really wide-eyed at Malco and sign. I'm either gonna spell out. I don't remember their name. Of the medical person we sent. Either sign out
Connor.
their name
Yeah.
or
Connor.
do a sign that you would know I'm talking about Connor. I'm just gonna say their name so that you can kind of connect the dots. And then I'm gonna turn and try to say, I'm gonna say Siltek and Connor's name to see if they can hear me.
Okay. Siltek, you're walking down the corridor with Connor, who is still very confused about what's happening. He keeps being like, but they were right here. They
were
were
not here.
outside this door.
They may have been not real. You don't know this. You got to get with me. Trust nothing. Question
Then
everything.
he looks at you. He goes, shh. Did you hear that? Someone just said
I'll
my
listen.
name.
Why
And
is
then
it
you
saying my name
hear
all the time?
Illyria call out, Siltek.
Oh.
You can't see her, but you can faintly hear the voice. It's slightly garbled, but you can
Commander
hear
Farron?
it.
Commander Farron, I can hear you.
You can see Siltek stop. His lips move and this strange garbled speech happens.
Can you
Pointing to
see
my
me?
ears.
Oh wait, can I understand?
No, you can just about see him, but the voice is all out of phase. You can't understand it. Siltek, you
Okay.
can hear Illyria, but you cannot
All right.
see her.
I'm pointing to my ears. I'm like, I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
I can't hear you, but
But-
you're out of phase.
How many fingers? Wait, did she just say she can't see me? I'm sorry, I'm so confused.
She can't see you. So she can
Or
see
I
you, she
can't- I
can't
can't-
hear
Can't
you.
see me, can't hear,
Yeah.
can't hear me. And I'm just like, I put up one finger, like,
You just hear Illyria go, "Don't you shake your finger at me."
yes, it was like big, huge
You're
thumbs
out
up.
of
Like,
phase.
okay, all right, okay. Then I hold on to Connor, and I'm like pointing, like, can you see Connor? And I kind of like push him in front of me, like, can you see Connor?
You
I
vaguely in front
swear-
of the ghost, this kind of like almost completely transparent form of Siltek. Another young man is thrust in front wearing a blue uniform of a doctor, and it's kind of odd because looking at them in front of each other, they kind of merge because of the translucency. But there's definitely another person here that you recognize as Connor from earlier.
I'm going to. I can't hear anything Siltek is saying, so I just see Siltek push Connor in front of Siltek. I've already seen Siltek like annihilate Connor with like a palm to the chest. So Illyria's gonna be like, Siltek, you cannot hurt Connor. I know you don't think Connor is real. Stop.
Siltek's just so excited that someone can see him. He grabs Connor from behind in a hug and swings him in a circle off his feet and then puts him back down. We're gonna be
Connor's
okay,
face
Connor. We're
is
gonna
like-
be all right.
It's just shock and confusion.
You just hear a huff. As Illyria, if you could see her, she's just like got her like hand on her forehead because she's like, of all people to be out of phase, it's the one individual that I don't understand.
Tristan, Malco, and Ro, you can see Illyria making gestures and you can hear the strange garbled out of phase speech. She appears to be addressing somebody further down the corridor, probably closer to where you are, Tristan, near between the doors to the two holodecks, the one that you came out of and the one that you started the roller disco in.
Okay, well, if people are out of phase, that has to be coming from somewhere. My best guess would be that's the warp core.
Yeah, that's
So
what I'm thinking.
probably should
I'm
get
gonna
to
head over.
engineering to fix this.
Yeah, I agree.
But can we actually get to engineering?
That's the question, isn't it?
There is also the thing that you were picking up background holographic emissions as well in the corridor.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna try and I'm gonna go up to the computer because I don't have my communicator on me anyway. And to be like, engineering, this is Councillor Odie. Is everything all right there? Any problems with the warp core? What's the situation?
We're awaiting Commander Farron to come down and give authorization for this to begin. We haven't vented anything yet.
Commander Farron may or may not be here.
But I spoke to her earlier. She said she was coming down. She never arrived.
There's a lot of that going around. Right,
I'm sorry, Commander.
hold for now.
I can't do anything without her sign-off. This is her engine room.
Of course. Hold. Yeah. I guess continue to do nothing. I'll just
Yes,
sign
sir.
off there.
Yeah, he just sounds really confused.
So, can I, Malco, do you have that? Oh wait, no, it's on the floor. I'm gonna go and try and pick up the tricorder.
You can pick up the tricorder.
Great.
You pick it up.
Can I get any more information on the holodeck emissions that seem to be in the corridor? Like, would I be able to tell if this is like the kind of problem or malfunction that has ever been on record with holodecks before?
Would you like to spend some momentum to ask me any questions that you wish? You've got 2 points. So we'll spend 1 point first of all. What exactly did you want to know? Has anything like this holo related been on record? Or do you want to discover more about the emission itself before that?
Yeah, I'd like to find more information about the emission itself.
Okay. You have a look at the tricorder, and the emission appears to be background emission. So it's a little bit different than what you would expect to see if you were, say, standing within a holodeck itself and have a program running and look for the output of the holographic transmission from the emitters themselves. That would be a really clear show of holographic emission, because you physically see it light up like a Christmas tree, so you could pinpoint which emitter was emitting something. You've never seen anything like this before, but it's almost like you take all of that energy that an emitter would put out, because holodecks, to some degree, they do mess with phase, because time doesn't necessarily work the same way. You're touching objects that aren't there and exist in one state of being and forcing them to exist in another state of being simultaneously, because you need this to, work kind of like a computer game. You're not really moving, the environment moves around you, but it has to keep up. So things that are solid need to then not be solid when they're off in the distance, so you're not touching them. This looks like something is emitting these hollow particles, which is messing perhaps with the phase in the area. You imagine because of some damage, or perhaps some issue with power that's caused one of them to malfunction, and it is still emitting. Or at least it has emitted enough of this holographic residue, and it hasn't dissipated the way that it should, because the holodeck was shut down. You shut the holodeck down while within it, but anything that escaped, any emission that happened outside of that, hasn't been caught in that shutdown procedure. That's what you can gather.
Okay.
You haven't seen anything like this on file. You've seen plenty of files about issues with emitters that were faulty and matter wasn't solid, or emitters that were causing a huge issue because matter wasn't desolidifying, locking up entire holographic programs because it couldn't keep up, for various reasons. You know, underpowered technology, damaged technology, people who didn't really have the power or the technology to create holographic realism but were trying anyway. Lots of things similar to this, but not quite this.
But I know it's definitely bad that hollow matter is outside of the actual rooms. That's not a good thing.
Yeah, you know it's bad, not so much that it's been emitted, but that it hasn't come under the effect of the shutdown.
Yeah. I'll relay this to my two remaining crew members.
Illyria can still hear you.
Yes. Yeah.
So, would it help if I shot it?
The answer is always.
I don't know.
They're just like,
Don't you shoot my ship!
I don't know if it could hurt.
If it's sending stuff out, we need to deactivate it, right?
I haven't worked out where it's coming from, though, right?
The holodeck is shut down. You know that much.
Yeah.
The one that you shut down, the faulty one, is shut down, so it shouldn't be emitting anything. It's more about
What's already
holographic
been.
emission residue that exists outside of that hasn't been affected by it.
I could set a wide beam, low power phaser blast into the hallway.
I guess my concern is that if we do that, what happens to the people currently out of phase?
That's a good question.
While you ponder this, Siltec and Illyria, what are you doing in this moment? Because obviously, one of you can see the other, but can't hear the other, and one of you can hear the other, but can't see the other.
Right. Okay. Well, all right. I need to know if it's really Commander Farron first before I do anything, because it may not be. So I'm going to go
my gosh.
to the nearest panel. I'm going to go to the nearest panel, right? And I'm going to look toward. I can hear, but I can't see her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to look toward where I think her voice is coming from, and I'm going to put my fist through a panel of the ship.
Go ahead and make me
Big
a
smile.
Make me a daring plus security test here.
Okay, excellent. Daring plus security. Okay. And I'm rolling 2, I take it?
Unless
Yeah.
you want to buy any dice.
Nah. All right, I got 9 and a 10, which means I have 2 successes.
Okay, it's 2 points of momentum in your pool. I just wanted to see how much damage to the ship you'd cause. You go up to one of the panels, and it's a keypad panel for not for the holodeck, but for the computer.
Just as hard
I
as I can, big smile, looking right towards where I think the voice is coming from.
Siltec seems to be looking just past you as he makes his way to this panel for the computer. Nice, beautiful, like screen with the LCARs and buttons. all lit up. You know, he takes his fist and just smashes it through the panel. It doesn't just crack the glass. You see there are sparks. The glass cracks, the lights die, some wires come out. Siltek, this is gonna inflict some stress onto you though.
That's fair.
2 points of stress as the kind of plexiglass cuts the hand, and as you kind of loosen your knuckles from embedded in it, some of the keypad falls out, the glass shatters, the kind of screening behind it starts to come loose. You can see wires. The panel's completely destroyed, Illyria.
So here's the thing. When Illyria gets angry, she doesn't get vocal. So for those of you who can see Illyria, you just
Which
see
I
her
cannot.
face turn to sheer rage. Her arms are down at her side with her fist clenched so tight she might actually be like digging her nails into her hands. And her posture shifts from very like non-confrontational to I am about to physically kick your butt. And then all Siltek hears is this very eerily calm voice say, "You're gonna fix that."
Oh, it's her. It's her. It's you.
And that's it.
She's so mad. Oh, I'm gonna pay
Somebody
for
broke
this.
the ship.
But it's definitely her. It's definitely her. Okay, listen, Connor, we gotta stay right here, okay? Because our best chance of getting out is her. And I'm pointing like 5 feet to your left, right? The best chance of getting out is right there.
I'm gonna turn and look at Tristan with this look of "Get me out of here now."
And Siltek, Connor looks at you and says, did you just piss off the chief engine?
Oh, I know, right? I know. I'm gonna be on KP duty for weeks, but trust me, I had to find out.
He just like,
Don't
he
worry,
he has a face on that just says, I'm not saying anything. I'm just gonna
Listen,
stand.
Connor, I'll tell him I
it is the
made you
face
do
of,
this
I'm
with
gonna
me,
stand
okay?
here.
Yeah. I'll tell him I
He
made
just-
you do it. Don't worry. They'll believe that.
I'm just gonna stand here. I'm not gonna touch anything.
Listen, I promised holograph you this, and I'm gonna promise you this. I'm getting you a drink as soon as we're out of here, okay?
It was the other ensign. It was the technician that you
I can't tell them apart.
punched the
Humans all look alike. It's too close. I really can't tell them apart.
Oh. Okay, he looks very confused, but just kind of, he's doing that thing now where he's heard Illyria's voice and it's just like, you know when you get told off and you're like, do you know what? I'm just not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna sit here and wait. Which is where he's at. What is everybody else doing in this moment then?
I think Tristan's having a potential light bulb moment
Okay.
of a possible plan. Okay, so, and he's got to say this to whoever's here. If the emitted energy wasn't removed, if we turn off the safety protocols and allow the holo program to take over not just the rooms but the whole deck and then shut them down, could that potentially shut down everything? Is that basically
Either that-
turn it on and turn it off again like that?
Either that or phase out the entire deck and then we all stay out of phase forever.
Oh, that's also a possibility, I suppose.
Alira says, and you can't understand, but that's fixable.
Malco, you understand this as Alira is listening and signs that that's fixable at the end of Rose's comment.
Alira says that's fixable.
Great, no downsides.
I at this point, I just want people back onto their normal positions here, so I'm down for anything.
Okay, I guess let's it's time to turn off some safety protocols.
Okay, friends. So I'm going to turn this into what we call a challenge, which means I'm going to draw some tick boxes here, and we're going to figure out what your kind of course of action is. Kind of similar like we did when we did Dishonored. We kind of figured out a plan and looked at how well that plan went, because I think it's a good way to deal with lots of people doing lots of different things. So, let me first of all find out what everyone is doing in this situation. So your plan, as I understand it, is to remove the safety protocols, transmit Hollow across not just the Hollow deck, as in the Hollow decks themselves, but into the corridors of this floor where everyone you believe is effective. And then, once everyone seems to be back to normal, shut them all off immediately. In the hopes that that restores the balance, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what is everyone doing as their part in this? So we've got 3 stages to this, which is turning off the protocols. We then have getting everyone back in phase. And then shutting it down. So who is doing what?
Ro doesn't really know how to do any of that stuff. I don't think so. I think Ro is just gonna be supervising and offering, encouragement and inspiration. That's about it. And following instructions, I guess, if anybody says go do this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
Okay,
shutting
so
down the protocols is just a case of like inputting the correct codes, I guess. So if I give someone
to
that,
some degree.
yeah, like there's still some other stuff involved, I guess. But yeah,
Mhm.
that might be one of the easier. I don't know.
So who would like to
Yeah,
take
that
charge of
works.
shutting off the safety protocols?
Yeah, I guess Ro could do that.
Okay.
Alira, I assume that since I can't physically touch anything, I can't do anything. Does that mean that I can assist by guiding? Because they can see me?
Yes. Yes. So you want to assist with that?
Yeah. Whoever I think is going to need the most help that I can aid in, I'm going to go and physically, even though I can't touch it, I can pretend like I'm doing it and they can follow guidance if needed.
I'm imagining that it's like a thing where you put you pretend you're holding the thing and put your hands over theirs, and as if you were putting it in, so they just put their hands wherever you put yours.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I'm imagining here. Okay, so you could do that for turning off the safety protocols, and then there's getting everyone back into phase once the power comes back on, the safety protocols are off. Who wants to be in charge of whatever that entails? Malco might be a good choice here because you are a doctor, so you're pretty good in terms of scanning, checking life forms, making sure people are you've had experience with incorporeal living beings, which is kind of what everyone else is right now, so you might be a good person to lead that.
Sure.
Okay, would anyone like to assist with that? In fact, we can leave that till then, because we don't know whether or not anyone will end up back in phase. And then we'll get to shutting it down in a moment, depending on how everything else goes. Okay, so first things first. Ro, it is down to you to turn off the safety protocols, while Malco and Tristan attempt to get ready to kind of put everything back into phase once this goes on and transmits. Illyria, are you kind of trying to tell Siltech what's happening here? Or are you kind of leaving him in the dark on this?
I am leaving Siltech in the dark. He broke my ship. I'm really mad at Siltech. I can't see or hear Siltech anymore. I have no idea what's going on, but I'll acknowledge Connor.
I
that's
imagine
great.
that you eventually acknowledge him after all this conversation with Siltek, and he says, I promise I haven't done anything to the ship, Commander.
I know. That's all.
Oh, no, I
She's
must be
not
going
mad
off
at
phase.
Connor,
Oh,
but
she
she's
can't hear me
emotionally in
anymore?
turmoil.
Oh, I must be really going to face. Connor, can you still hear me? He'll whip Connor around, look Connor in the eyes. Can you still hear me, Connor? Can you see
I
me?
think she's just ignoring you, Ensign. That's all. You did punch her.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, because I pissed her off. All right, yeah, all right. Well, you talk to her. You tell her I'm sorry and that I'll happily help fix the ship whenever we get the hell out of here.
You just hear, because I can hear noise Siltek is making, but I can't hear what Siltek is saying, and you're just gonna hear Eliora be like, Siltek, I need you to shut up. Because she's trying to pay attention to the other people.
Shutting up, ma'am. Zip. Makes a little zip motion. That translates, right? Cry.
Connor looks at you, Siltek, and is just like, maybe we should just wait here. Just not
I think
touch
so.
anything.
All right. So where are you from? And like, start casual conversation with them. You know? Just gonna flirt
Okay.
a little, I guess.
Ro, you've got to disable the safety protocols within the holodeck.
Yes.
I'm going to assume that because you've routed power away from it, you can route power back to it, which isn't a problem. You turn it on, you get to the weird little control panel where everything's like orange USB sticks, and you start doing stuff to the safety
isolinear
protocols.
chips.
And you hear the computer speak. Commander Riker has returned your priority message. Please note that you are also disabling safety protocols on the holodeck. Please enter authorization to continue procedure. Who is the highest ranking
that's
officer here? Actually, Alira, you
any
would
of
have
the
this
lieutenant commanders.
authorization.
I can't speak though. So how do I give the authorization if it can't hear me?
You can type a code in.
Can I actually touch it, or do I have to guide like I did before?
You have to guide.
I'll
like you did
guide.
before.
I'll guide.
In which case, for this one, Alira, I need you to make me a presence command test, and Ro, I need you to make me a reason command test to understand.
Oof.
Oh,
So let's
chicken
see
nuggets.
presence command first. Let's see how well Illyria does at guiding her hand across this.
Okay.
Was that a 20?
I would like to use my success.
You can use your
I
success.
think I have
your
a
crit.
success.
You do.
I'd like
you have
to
one
use
left.
that, please.
Okay. So at first, you try to do it, and you almost forget that you aren't punching in the numbers. And so it's very hard for Ro at first to tell where this is going. But in this case, if you're using your auto success, Ro, I won't make you roll. But then you realize you have to go a lot slower. You have to be really direct about where you point, because, you know, normally you put a key number in, you're just tapping away. And it's kind of hard to see where people are tapping through a semi-translucent hand. So you have to go one finger at a time, and you type in the authorization code, and the computer states, authorization granted. Please continue with turning off safety protocols for the holodeck.
All right. Ro's gonna finish that up and tell the computer, play the message from Riker while I'm doing this.
The message is very short, and it's very succinct. It basically mentions something of, the next time I see you in Riser, I'll drop it off. Knowing full well that Riker himself could look up the fact that you are now currently on long-term shore leave, which means you won't get this chance again for a bit.
Yeah.
It's basically, you get the idea that it is, this is kind of inconvenient for me to pay you right now. Some other time.
Gotcha. Did he say the amount that Ro was asking him to confirm?
Yes, it was 4 Latinum bars.
Okay. Whoa. Ro won 4 bars of Latinum? Holy cow.
I imagine
She
this
did
is
well.
the night where Riker made some very poor decisions after drinks and ladies.
Yeah. Oh, holy crap. Okay.
Okay, so
So Rose gonna tell everybody like, hey, it's not a hologram. Just I know we already know that, but just confirmed.
I imagine the computer just read this out loud, so everyone is now well
Okay.
aware that Commander William Riker is 4 Latinum bars in debt to you, Ro.
I love it.
So I need you then to make me a reason. So now I'm going to make this control plus engineering test with a difficulty of 2. And Illyria, I need you to assist by rolling 1d20, and you are going to be making a presence engineering test to assist.
Do we have any momentum?
You have got... Where's my little card? You currently have 3 points of momentum.
I'm gonna use 1 because my engineering is 2.
Okay.
So my
go ahead.
target
So
is
you're
11.
rolling- Yeah. So
Oh,
you're
I
rolling
may have
3d20.
something. I may have something to help. Nope, just
One of your
kidding. Sorry, I
talents?
lied.
No. Okay.
I thought I could use cautious engineering, but I cannot.
No, because you're
Um,
assisting. If you were making the test, you could.
So you said mine was presence engineering?
Yeah.
Okay, so I rolled 2 successes on that.
Nice. You're on 1d20.
Oh no, sorry.
You're
I
rolling
rolled 2
1d20.
Okay.
Because you're assisting, so you only roll 1 dice when you
Ah,
assist.
okay.
All right.
I still got a success.
Nice. Okay.
So I got 1 success, which is a 2, unless I can argue that my knowledge of helm operations would help me in this, since that's a focus.
I will say yes, actually, because Helm Operations does have its own set of safety protocols, and I imagine because Starfleet are weirdly efficient, that there would be some similarities between disabling safety protocols across a Starfleet vessel. Like, there must be a similar procedure for doing it. So yes, so that gives you 3
Okay, sweet.
successes in total. So that's you've got 3 points of momentum in the pool. So yes, you manage to shut off the safety protocols. You hear the computer confirm this. Safety protocols inactive. Which means all you have to do now is get the holodeck working again and try and get everybody back in phase. So we're going to hand over to Malco and Tristan.
Okay.
The holodeck has power. There are no safety protocols. What program are you going to load up to try and transmit?
Take your pick. Anything.
I mean, you
Who
can
thinks spring to mind?
one and transmit that into the
I mean,
holodeck
yeah.
surrounding corridors.
Yeah, I'm here for this. Yeah,
Okay.
turn the whole deck into a roller disco.
Program initiated. Roller derby, and you see the holodeck itself becomes this, roller disco arena, and which somehow weirdly extends and warps to fit the corridors as holographic people greet you, begin to start doing, all of the associated rollerblading fun times around you. As this transmits out, Illyria, suddenly you find yourself feeling more adjusted. You look down and you're wearing roller skates. You have a very flattering but slightly odd 80s Earth hairdo, as you now appear to be dressed for rollerblading. Siltek, you are no longer wearing cowboy boots.
All right.
You too have rollerblades, as does
What?
Connor. Suddenly, your hair, you realize as you go up for the cowboy hat is not there, but you have a strange hairstyle that you've seen in some very old movies from your time on Earth. Connor looks very confused, but you see ahead of you, among this crowd of people that have appeared of nowhere who are rollerblading down the deck's corridor, Illyria standing equally as confused.
Oh, I rollerblade over. Give her a big ol' hug. Commander!
Illyria.
coming at you full
Jordan
speed.
apologizes. Jordan apologizes. This is gonna be the only time I would like to punch Siltek. I'm
No one's
so
had a coming
sorry.
more.
Make me a daring plus security test with a difficulty of 1. Would you
Daring
like to
plus
spend any
security.
Actually, no, I don't allow momentum spends against player versus player, but go ahead and do this. Siltek, I'm not going to let you roll to defend this
No,
because you
I
haven't.
got arms wide open. I'm going right for her. I'm going big old target.
Oh yeah, I
Difficulty.
succeeded.
How many successes is that?
2.
So you got 5 points of momentum in the bank, friends. Siltek, you ride open arm towards your commander, happy to finally see her. Illyria, what do you do?
Oh, so you're skating towards me
Yeah, arms
gonna
out, full
wait.
speed.
till the last minute and like smile and nod at you, like almost like I'm like really evil on the inside, and then I'm just gonna boom, like right in the nose, like, and I'm not even gonna try that hard because you're coming at me pretty like full
Right.
force, and I know
I'm
how
doing all the
momentum
work for
works
you.
because engines, and I'm just gonna hold it out. And like when you lay out on the ground, I'm just gonna say, "Don't touch my ship," and I'm gonna skate away.
Yeah, and I got my legs would go right out from under me and just slam right onto my back, right next to her, stunned. Right.
You suddenly realize what that poor ensign must have felt when you shoved him in the chest, but worse.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you land solid on your back. You can feel the floor. Illyria, you could feel your fist against Siltek. You are corporeal again.
Woohoo!
However,
I'm gonna shake my hand out.
I would like to
"Yeah, I'm good."
know. So it appears that everyone is back in phase for the most part as you convene in the holodeck. What you have to do now, though, is shut this down and monitor anybody who might slip back out of it. So, Malco, I am going to ask you to make me a control and actually no, reason plus science or reason plus medicine test to track everyone's life forms on your tricorder, to check phase to ensure that nobody is suddenly becoming incorporeal again, which will determine the kind of settings that whoever wants to shut this down is going to use to shut it down and hopefully return everything back to relative normality.
Okay.
So difficulty 2 test, you have got 5 points of momentum in the bank.
Okay. I'm definitely gonna buy one more D20.
Uh-huh.
And just to make sure, this was a reason and medicine.
Yeah.
All right. Can I use my xenobiology focus to help with this?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I'll let that apply.
Cool. All right. That is double checking. That is 3 successes.
3 successes, so you get a point of that momentum back, so you got 5 back in the momentum pool, and you manage to scan, you lock onto everybody, and you can slowly suggest adjustments as the slow shutdown is done. Who is doing this shutdown? Who would like to assist with the shutdown? Cool, so Trishan, you'll
Not
take
it.
the lead. Does anyone want to assist? Illyria, you are
What is-
corporeal again.
I was like, I don't mind assisting. I don't know how much help I'll be, but I'll assist.
Okay, in which case then, Trishan, go ahead and make me a reason engineering test. And you can have any bonuses that you get from your experimental device, and any bonuses from.
I think it
the
reduces the
difficulty.
difficulty by 1. I think. I can't find my thing. Let me check.
That sounds about right from when I last played a game using one. So yeah, let's lower the difficulty by 1.
Okay.
So it's going to go down to difficulty 3. And you've got your focus in holodeck technology. And
Yep.
then Illyria, if you want to go ahead and make me the same reason plus engineering with 1d20. Would you like to buy any dice? You have got 5 points of momentum sitting in your momentum pool.
Yes. I would
How
like
many
to buy
dice would you like? Because right now, if you spend all of your momentum to put it correct, you can have 3 extra dice. It's the last big thing you got to do to get everybody
Yeah,
back.
let's do it, I guess. So is
Okay.
this five dice total?
5d20 you're rolling, and Illyria is going to roll 1d20 with the assist.
Would it be amazing if those were all 20s? Okay.
I've been there. I've been there.
Don't jinx it.
Okay. Ooh. Did you say reason engineering?
Yep.
That's 6 successes.
6 successes. Illyria, how many
Yep.
successes did you get on your assist? You
I
as
got
well.
one.
So 7 successes on a difficulty 3 gives you 4 points of momentum. You slowly, with Malco aiding in monitoring the life forms, giving you the adjustments as you take them down to check that each level is safe. Illyria, as you begin to gently siphon off the power, and Trishan, you carefully shut down the emitters. Eventually, the holodeck turns to silence. The roller disco gone. But all of your crew stand within it. Solid. At this point, Illyria, your combat goes. Commander, we've been trying to reach you for a bit now, but we really need to get to work on the engines down here. Please, can we have your sign-off? I've sent someone up to get it. And what would you know, a few moments later, the doors to the holodeck open as the arch appears. And somebody comes up with a pad wanting your signature.
Hard shove. See if they're real.
Oh my goodness.
Illyria, just as your fingers grip the pad and take it along with the pen to sign, it's snatched away from you as this poor officer just goes clattering to the floor. Pad goes one way. Completely
They're
winded.
real.
Oh my god. Illyria. Oh, okay.
My nose is still bleeding.
You've this is the only time Illyria will ever Man, what is up with this? You really get under her skin. Okay, is the panel that Siltech punched still broken?
Yes.
Aw. I'm gonna turn around and I am gonna say, Siltech,
Yes, ma'am.
you are going to sit in that chair right there until I tell you to move. And she's gonna point at one of the chairs. This is the only time you've seen her be really aggressive and
On the holodeck.
confrontational.
I imagine at this point Trishan is just making a chair appear.
Little dunce cap on it. And I'm like, all
You will
right, ma'am,
remain
and
there until I contact your captain about your behavior. And she's gonna turn around and help the other
direct
person up and be
order.
like,
I go sit in the chair.
she's gonna pick up the pad and paper and sign it and say, sorry for your troubles. And like hand it. And, like,
He just kind of takes it and just leaves very quickly, looking at Siltech over his shoulder. You've got 4 points of momentum in the pool, so I'm going to spend those for you and say that after this little incident, I imagine, Trishan, that you put the roller disco back on that everyone said they would go to after the horse race.
Oh, yes.
And therefore, that is how you spend the rest of your evening for this day of shore leave, in the roller disco. And
I'm
that
assuming
brings us
with Siltech in a chair in the middle of the rink while we all just
Not
skate
yet.
around him. Yeah, great.
you just casually see Illyria cast really cold, angry looks at Siltech.
And that, my wonderful friends and crew, is where we end our Star Trek season finale. After you averted a crisis with all of you being weirdly out of phase with each other. And
That
roller
was
disco.
great.
So let's really quickly then go round for the last time, at least for this show, and say hi to our wonderful crew, find out where they are on the internet, and tell us what you thought of this fun season. Let's go the other way around this time. So Max, how is this for you? Where can we find you?
This was amazing. Real quick, so my watch measures my heartbeat, and there were at least 3 separate times throughout the day where it was like, hey, your heart rate's really high. So that gives you an idea of how just excited and like nervous I got during certain sections of today. But this was incredibly fun. I love each and every one of you in this group. Thank you for making this an amazing experience. And hi, I am Maximus J07. You can find me everywhere on Twitter and Twitch with the same handle. I stream occasionally here, and I talk about tabletop RPGs and various other things. I DM on the side, and just I'm a big fan of all this tabletop goodness. So please come say hi over there and hit me up. So thank you so much. I had so much fun.
I'm so glad. We also have the wonderful Raven. How is this for you?
Hi.
Where can we find you on the internet?
Oh, it was great. Echoing everything that Max said. This group has been fantastic. I'm sad that we're done with this season of Star Trek because y'all are just a joy. But yeah, today was really good too. It's each session it's been like, oh man, that was amazing. I don't think it could get any better than that. And then the next one's even better. So it was really cool. I loved all of that. And finding out that Ro cleaned out Riker and Ryza in some kind of gambling game is just great. I loved that. You can find me on the internet at my Twitter, which is right here below my face. Also, I'll be back on in about 3 hours over at twitch.tv/Raven. That's RAVVYN. We're doing a community one-shot, which is going to be a 60s style horror B-movie. We're actually playing the actors in the movie. And I'm basically playing a copy of Bruce Campbell because it's supposed to be really cheesy and B-movie-ish. So I'm really looking forward to that. You can check me out there. Yeah, I'm sure I'll be around. So thank you again, everybody.
Oh, that's awesome. And that sounds like a really, really fun one-shot as well. Speaking of
Looking
people
forward to it.
who are wonderfully fun, Jordan, how are you? How was this for you tonight? Where can we find you?
Oh, I'm so good. Number one, let me just echo the accolades of the people before me. Phenomenal group. Even though Alira was feisty and may have done some PvP, which Jordan never does. I love all of you and all of your characters. It was great. And thank you so much for the experience. This one shot was like phenomenal. I loved it. My brain was stumped. I'm a fan of puzzles. But yeah, like absolutely adored it. I can't be thankful enough for the opportunity to be here and to play this game and to play a new system. This is a new system for me. So you hear nothing but good things from this chicken nugget. I am Jordan, aka Sassy with Sander. You can find me on all the social medias under that tag. I do music, I do TTRPG, and I play video games on Jam Game Streams. You also can catch me as the voice of Adina from Fate and the Fable Maidens, an all-women family-friendly podcast.
Awesome. And we also have our wonderful Cardassian. Aram, how was that for you? Getting yourself into trouble?
I had a great time. This was great. I really like that we were able to like put Siltech a little bit off to the side to let him be like just as Siltech as possible without wrecking everything else. So that worked out really, really well. I had a wonderful time. It was my first time with the system as well. You all have been a joy. A true absolute joy. Like in 4 or 5 games, I feel like I have developed a little family who I will really enjoy playing with in the future and however that comes together. And if you want to see more of what I do, you can follow me at Vartian on Twitter. I also produce 2 D&D podcasts, God's Fall and Rise of the Demigods, one of which I am premiering tonight, episode 100 of God's Fall on twitch.tv/godsfall. I put more work into this than I've ever put into anything, and I can say with confidence, I think it is the best edited actual play episode ever produced anywhere. I'd love to hear what you all think of it.
Oh, that sounds awesome. People should definitely go and check that out too. And last but definitely not least, we have our wonderful Betazoid. How are you doing, Darby? How was this for you?
I've loved every moment of this. Every session has been amazing. This group of people are just, I love all of you. Star Trek Adventures, first time playing it. I'm going to be playing it a whole bunch more. I really want to be around a table with you all again, because this has just been a joy from beginning to end. And yeah, roller disco saves the world, but we knew that anyway. You can find me at Pixel Justice on Twitter and Malibu Darby everywhere else. And yeah, this has been amazing. Thank you all so much. Love you all.
And as you know, I am Virginia. I am the wonderful captain who gets to GM for this crew of even more wonderful people. Thank you so much for playing. You are all awesome and all incredible. Thank you to everyone in chat who's come and watched. You are also amazing. Thank you so much for all of the banes and the boons and the crits and the awesome fun times. I have loved every minute running for all of you, and hopefully we can have a reunion crew one day and see where all of our characters are up to. Last but not least, there's a few more shout-outs I have to do to finish up this finale tonight. First of all, if you enjoy what you see here and you want to support the cast of Encounter Roleplay and Encounter Roleplay itself, please don't forget to check out the Patreon, where you can get a whole bunch of extra awesomeness, and a lot of that goes towards supporting a lot of the cast that come on to play and the GMs that GM over here. A huge shout-out to Darby, who did all of the beautiful character art that you see on the screens here. Thank you so much for those. I have loved them. They have cemented these characters in my mind so much, along with all of your awesome roleplay. If you are interested in Star Trek Adventures, then don't forget, you can check them out. You can check the whole game line out on the Modiphius web store right now. There should be a link dropping in chat very soon. So if you're interested in the past few adventures that I ran, except for this one I did myself, they are all from the Strange New Worlds compendium. So if you liked those kind of adventures, definitely go check it out. You can get the Core Rule book there too. If you want to chat more about this session or any of the other sessions, please make sure that you are signed up to the community on Discord. A whole bunch of the cast and crews hang out there, as well as all of the wonderful people that you're probably seeing in chat. So if you're not already on there, jump over and say hi. If you're watching this back on YouTube, hi, we hope you enjoyed this episode. And don't forget that if you want to catch up on any of the past stuff that we have done, or past stuff of any of the other amazing shows here on Encounter Roleplay, you can do that over on the YouTube channel. Please do go check it out. There's a whole bunch of awesome shows there, ranging back from the ones that are just finished up to ones that were played last season, which were really cool as well. So there's plenty to keep you entertained. Please don't go anywhere except for to get snacks and hydrate, because directly after this we have Haunting of Seawall Orphanage, the horror show DM'd by the amazing Donathan Fry. You should stick around to watch it. They are back this week. It's bound to be awesome. So aside from getting snacks and drinks, make sure you come back here in a little bit for when that starts. And last but not least, we have our monthly Meat Grinder on Sunday, April 26th, 3 p.m. EDT, raising money for RAIN. So if you're interested in watching that, please make sure that you mark that down somewhere so you can come along and watch the show. The Meat Grinders are always really awesome. So please come and check that out. And don't forget, just because Star Trek Adventures is finished here, it doesn't mean that you can't watch back some of the awesomeness that has happened, and keep an eye out for all of these beautiful, wonderful folks here, for all the amazing stuff they do. And hopefully we will all see you back here for another game of something in the near future. But other than that, have a wonderful night, folks. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, World Anvil and Wormwood, for those discount codes. And stick around for Haunting of Seawall Orphanage. Thank you so much for all of your support, and we will hopefully see all of you soon. Bye, friends!
While anxious wives paced Widow's Walk, scanning the horizon, watching the sea, the warmth of the fireside guided their creaking ships past the ever-present lighthouses safely into port. Today as yesterday, these sentinels of safety bring gladness to the hearts of the homing mariners.